It's time to play ball. Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now. Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. Huddle up. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Alrighty, sports fans, coming at you 100% commercial free every Thursday evening from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC HD. This is a little radio program that affectionately around here we've taken to calling WHPC Sports Talk. Yeah. That's right. My name is Chris Muldoon, and Laughing Jack over there is Mark Talkie Tchaikovsky.
I'm loaded up on Perm Sweets. So.
There you go. You've been having all your Perm Sweets?
Yeah.
And over there in the corner, dressed the Johnny Cash, the man in black, right there, Tristan Hamilton.
Unhooded,
yeah. And on special assignment tonight are Josh Silverberg and Kevin Boston Hill. See, I was looking forward to introducing that side of the room as I found out last week, my Irish cousins, Kevin Boston Hill and Tristan Hamilton. We found out last week, both of them. You know, he said one of Tristan's middle names is Patrick.
Yeah.
The other one's Jermaine.
That's all over
and
the
Kevin
place.
said, yeah, Kevin. And his name is Kevin, right? A very Irish name. But this is WHPC Sports Talk. We're every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's Thursday, March 21st.
And I like I want to start with the first thing you said today.
Okay.
Alrighty, sports fans.
Alrighty, sports fans.
And it is March 21st because you said sports fans. What's going on TV right now?
Yeah.
March Madness. That's not for sports fans. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering what gets bigger ratings,
That's not
the
for
basketball
No,
or,
it's not.
or Big Bang Theory.
It's not because March Madness it's like to me it's a big ratings grab. You know, I think that.
Oh gosh, Mark.
Yeah,
this is the best.
because,
one of the best times in sports, and honestly,
I like to be nerdy about sports. I don't want
I understand, but
the flash in the pan.
All right, Mark. Let me try to. I think, in my opinion, with this time of the year, this is second out of all the sports. This is second to the Super Bowl.
Well,
I definitely feel like this is second.
Well,
to
they both lend themselves to gambling.
Yeah,
they both lend themselves to drinking in the afternoon. You know, all those things are.
Yep.
And the internet is just so big for it because all the games, all the updates, all the gambling, all the pools, all the brackets, all that. My always thing was if I didn't. Having graduated from a Catholic college, I always root for a Catholic. Since my team's not there, I root for a Catholic college. There's like 5 of them in it or whatever it is, and 4 of them are pitted against each other. So it's like this Villanova has to play St. Mary's, and 2 other Catholic teams like Iona. Oh, they got Iona against Duke. It's like okay, forget it. Or Kentucky, whoever they're playing. It's just like okay, forget it. But I am not even. They put St. John's in the play-in game, and of course, what happened?
Well, it's a ratings grab. Why are they in the playing game? It's a ratings
and
grab.
You had Bobby Hurley against Chris Mullen. You know, it's like okay, not playing, but I would have rather preferred to have seen Bobby Hurley against Chris Mullen out there playing. Who is it? Georgetown is in the NIT, and they're playing. Patrick, they're playing somebody of note as well. But in the NIT, not.
I'd rather talk about that Capitals Tampa Bay game last night.
But no, I mean the ratings. People love themselves some college basketball, and there are a million channels that they could be on, and everyone has some kind of affiliation with one of these schools somehow. So that's what they do. So and the schools get the payouts, and the conferences get the payouts, and there's so much money in this stuff, and this NBA draft, while it has Zion Williamson, it doesn't have a lot of other stars going to go out.
Hey.
And I mean, Ja Morant, who's playing today, and was doing way too much trying to be fancy when he didn't have to.
Where does Zion Williamson fit in the NBA?
That's as a position player?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Power forward.
He's so.
But he's 6'7".
But he's yeah.
Draymond Green is 6'7".
He's such
that's just what it. I just think that's.
But he's not that heavy.
Yeah.
Who's not that heavy?
Well, he's
Draymond Green.
Oh, but that's why power forward is better for him.
Yeah, like if you look at every power forward in the league, though, name like the best power forwards that are out there.
Anthony Davis, right? We consider him a power forward.
How tall is he? 6'10", 6'11"?
Yeah, 6'10". Yeah, but
that's the problem.
But how many teams?
Look at how many DeJuan Blair. Remember?
How many teams closing out the game go to a small lineup anyway? to close out games, for execution offensively. For you got. I think you guys got to like factor a lot into Zion, and maybe on a certain team he might be the 4 to close a game. Like Draymond Green plays the 5 to end most of the games. He's the 5. Kevin Durant is the the 4.
The Warriors always had like some kind of like iffy center to begin with.
Yeah, but
Zaza Pachulia or
Bogut. but those guys. But then how they really finish off the season. That's true, but I don't know. I think Zion is a power forward, in my opinion.
He could end up being another DeJuan Blair.
So these are your power forwards right now: Dirk Nowitzki,
retiring;
Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge. So what are all their heights?
Like 6'10" and above,
right?
Yeah.
LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Love,
6'9",
LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Paul Millsap.
He's he's a little bit undersized.
He is undersized. He's been on. Yeah.
Is Porzingis a power forward at 7?
Yeah, Porzingis. Yeah.
Pau Gasol, Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka. Yeah, he gets too many technicals.
Zach Randolph, Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh.
I'm just
7 foot.
Yeah.
Wasn't he 7 foot?
He was 7 foot. Yeah.
6. Okay.
He was. Depending on he lied. He was taller than he listed himself as because he wanted to play power forward. He didn't want to play center. There's a bunch of guys who've lied about their height. There was a guy, Detlef Schrempf, who played for the Indiana Pacers, and he was listed at 6'9" because he was the ultimate swingman. He played guard and forward. He was 7'1", but he did not want to be a 7'1" player. He was German. He said he was 6'9". Meanwhile, he was on the Pacers with with Miller and with Mullen and those guys, and he's towering over them.
All of them.
But he's the guard forward swingman, kind of thing.
So you guys are saying that Zion is a small forward? But even if he's a small forward,
position,
he's not. He's a generational college player. I mean, what he does, he's never going to be as exciting as he is now in college. I mean, what he's doing in college is phenomenal. What can he play in the pros? He's always been a power forward, so it's like Kyler Murray, right? Kyler Murray has always been a short quarterback, right? So he's going to be a short, and he's always been a short, successful quarterback. But this guy's always been a short, successful.
The thing about
the
Zion,
pros are different because you could be a power forward.
Troy Smith won a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
You know who Troy Smith is?
Yeah.
Who was the Ohio State quarterback that was undersized.
He went to the Ravens.
Yeah, he went to the Ravens. Too short to play in the NFL. Yeah. There's a big difference between college and the NFL.
Yeah, well, that's also it's just where you don't have any 6'7" at his level. He was biggest no matter where he was. But when you get up and up, when you get to the pros, where it's with a cream rush to the top, it's all 6'10" guys. That's why they're there. That's the problem. However, he's always been this good, and he's always been a big body.
And
we'll
boxing out, rebounding. There's certain things I think his talent.
He seems to be a combination of Charles Barkley, who was an undersized rebounder and led the league in rebounding at his 6'5" at best. And he really wasn't 6'5", and Blake Griffin. Because with the dunks and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I know Ja Morant is an exceptional college player, but he's a point guard, and I don't know that point guards really.
From Belmont?
No, from Murray State. I don't think point guards.
Who's the guy from Belmont?
They won the other day. I don't know his name, but I don't think that point guards in this game today really matter. And the other guy, Barrett, from Duke, he hasn't really done anything. He's not really. He's going to be top 3, top 4, top 5, but he hasn't really cemented himself. And all the other guys that were supposed to be pretty good coming out have all sort of gone sideways. They haven't.
No. I think Barrett has done pretty good. I think it's Reddish that you're talking about that hasn't done good. They have 3 players. You got Zion supposed to be 1. Barrett's supposed to be number 2. He's supposed to be the shooting guard, and then Reddish is like that small power forward.
There was a great article I was reading last night where it just broke down like everyone should wish for last year's draft because that was the better draft in terms of what was out there with the players and how they've done. And some of the players are really really good what they're doing in the pros this year from last year's draft. But I think it's interesting. I don't think the Knicks are going to get the number 1 overall pick just because they're the Knicks and it is what it is. So I guess it would be it'd be Phoenix, right? The Suns, I think, are who going to get it, which is kind of funny because Zion Williamson in Phoenix is just a waste. Name me a Phoenix superstar. It's been Tom Chambers and Amari Stoudemire. It's like
Steve Nash.
There's been he wasn't a superstar. He was a nice player and he stood out for obvious reasons. But the Arizona at Phoenix, but it could be that in the NBA draft and the NFL draft, number 1 pick goes to Arizona.
That's true.
The Cardinals and the Suns, and that would be very interesting. I saw a mock draft today that I liked, and it's by a guy who's fairly well known as being a mock drafter. I think his name is Zeitline, Lance Zeitline or something. And I actually like what he had the Giants doing. And it really makes sense it almost makes it seem like Gettleman has a plan. He's got at 6, he's got the Giants taking Metcalf, the wide receiver. So it's like, whoa, wait a second. If you're going to replace Odell Beckham Jr., why not go with this guy who's a freak, who's never been fast and strong and
You're
tall
throwing him
and
into
big.
a lot of pressure.
And then he's got them at 17 going with Drew Lock from Missouri.
Oh, the backup quarterback.
And I'm like, wow, you know what? I love when quarterbacks and wide receivers are in the same draft because that puts them together.
So this is my question. I know Eli has to know that he's out of there soon, right? So but it's a funny situation because the Giants have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Does Eli still look at it funny that you're still wasting a first-round pick on a quarterback? I know it's not the first one, but it's still a first-round pick.
See, what I like, and I think I said it last week, and I've seen some mock drafts now doing this. If I'm the Giants, I say to Arizona, I say, I pick 35th, which is the 3rd pick of the 2nd round, right? Let's do Josh Rosen. You get a 35th pick. I get Josh Rosen.
You want Josh Rosen?
Boom, yeah.
You're fine with Josh Rosen?
Yeah. I mean, he's key. He could play in New York. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got a big mouth, all that stuff. And he was really well regarded coming out of college. And everyone thought he was a can't-miss prospect.
Yeah.
Just because he had a year that he had in Arizona. Everyone's, quarterbacks in Arizona don't do well,
That's why Larry Fitzgerald, he was on a sit-down talk show, and they was talking to him. They was like, what did you feel about the whole Antonio Brown situation? And he was like, I think Antonio Brown, but this is right before he got traded, right before. He said, I think Antonio Brown should really calm down because he doesn't know how lucky he has it.
Right. And it's funny because I love Larry Fitzgerald, probably my favorite player. The last 7 years, he's just been collecting checks.
Yeah.
That's all he's done. I mean, he's getting paid very well.
Stats.
He is. Stats, but he's just been collecting.
He knows he's not competing for nothing.
He accepted his fate, and he's like, all right, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to get paid.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what he's done. And there's a great link I sent to you guys the other day. It's sporttrack.com, and it has the career numbers for what guys have made. Did you look at that link that I sent you?
No, not for the.
You got to go look at it because it's hilarious to see the highest paid
in football. Oh, just straight football,
just straight football, and just straight by contract. So not by like commercials or anything like that. It goes straight by.
Oh, wow.
So the top 2 of all time are Mannings. And in fact, that does not include
the top,
because Eli just got his payment the other day with the new football year.
It's not really a surprise that the top 10 are quarterbacks.
Yeah,
the whole top 10 is quarterbacks.
So Eli just got $18 million the other day. So he's now number 1 at $253 million over his career, which is kind of funny. Because just goes to show, Kyler Murray wants to ditch baseball for football.
Yeah.
If the player that made the most NFL history from the game, not commercials, because he's made tons of money from commercials, is Peyton Manning, or now it's Eli at 253. What is Mike Trout signing for? Isn't he signing for like $430 million? And that's that's only part of his career.
Yeah.
So Kyler, play baseball.
Revis is there.
So get this. This is great. So he was a mercenary. He was
I didn't even realize he got that much money.
I love watching this. Oh, wait till you see some of this. So number
Michael
1 is
Vick.
So Peyton. That's the one. Michael Vick. And look at that. Michael Vick's like $124 million or something like that.
Yeah.
That's
19.
And he forfeited money by going to jail.
Yeah.
So Michael Vick made all that money.
And I know right now Joe Thomas retired right now.
No. Joe Thomas is Joe Thomas is number 21 of all time.
But this is what I'm saying. He's probably looking at it like all this money, and now the Browns are good.
Right.
And now the Browns are going to be good.
He's lost so much weight, Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
But you look at it, and then I love looking at it for when the guys actually played. Like
Calvin
Brett Favre is 137. He's been retired for close to a decade now. So he made that money. Like Dan Marino's on this list fairly high. He hasn't played for, I don't think, in this century. Yeah, he hasn't played this. So that's how much money he was getting paid back then. McNabb is still 31. It's like some of these guys I look at, I'm like, boy, I'm not.
Michael
like
Strahan is
Chris
65.
Long's up there. Yeah, there's some guys where
Michael Strahan. To be honest, for the career he had, I think this is a little bit under what I
was shocked he made that much. I was like, wow, I'm surprised he made that much. But
you think hasn't a lot or a little?
I thought a lot for him because he was not.
He was always top.
He went to Texas Western, so he didn't come in off like a big contract coming in.
Okay, that's true.
But like number 43, everyone talks about the draft that had Eli and Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers. They forget the other guy drafted in that draft, just like Lamar Jackson was the bottom of the first round in last year's draft. Matt Schaub who just signed another 2-year deal.
And he was in Houston for a while with Andre Johnson.
He's number 43 with $90 million in his career. So if you think about they should name all 4 quarterbacks in that draft. And that doesn't include the 2-year deal he just signed with the Falcons. So it's when you look at this, there are guys who, and then Randy Moss still made $82 million in his career. It's like that's 49th overall. I mean, these guys are, there's Ray Lewis, obviously, Andrew Luck, 97. Andrew Luck's only played a few years. He's already at 97.
Yeah.
So that guy,
he might end up passing Eli.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he might pass it. But I think a lot of these quarterbacks right now are going to pass Eli. Like for example, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to pass Eli. And,
Andre Johnson's 26. So when you think we're talking about Larry Fitzgerald, toiling in obscurity in Arizona, Andre Johnson toiled for all these years in Houston.
Yeah.
But he's made $106 million and he's still going. So he's the kind of guy who Mario Williams, right? 120 in his career. He was
the defensive.
He was like the number one. The guy picked above Reggie Bush. In the draft. And then you got Tony Romo, who's been out of the game for a couple of years, and even Witten's in there. It's like these guys
and he
made
came back.
some serious dough in their time. But when you look at the top 10, it's Eli, Peyton, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. And Tom Brady should have made more, but he always took less. Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford. Matthew friggin' Stafford.
For basically being the last in that division.
And number 10, Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer made $174 million in his career.
He bounced around a lot being that quarterback.
Larry Fitzgerald, $163 million in his career. Thank you, Larry. That's why he's stuck. Joe Flacco's at 147.
Josh McCown made 50. 217. Just 50 being a back, right, for a lot of his career.
Joe Flacco's at 147. He's only 34, Joe Flacco.
What was his contract that he just signed? For Denver, right?
Yeah, he got traded, so they're using an existing deal with Baltimore. But John Elway, to hear John Elway tell it, he said the other day that he thinks that Joe Flacco's just coming into his prime at 34, which is a lie. But I understand what he's trying to say. But it's a lie. At the end of the day, it's a lie. But just Drew was top 20th over 124 million.
I didn't know he became so much.
He became a mercenary. That's what he did. And then I see one of these guys, because I always like to joke about it, but. Mr. Kerry Washington, Nnamdi Asomugha, right?
Yeah.
He's still like Andrew Whitworth, the tackle for the Rams. He's 61st overall. Steve McNair, who was murdered, $76 million in his career. He had money, because now there's a big podcast which talks about the fact that the story was that it was a murder-suicide by his girlfriend, but there was a Sports Illustrated podcast that came out and said that it wasn't, that the girlfriend and he were murdered by other people, and they even named names in it. So they're going to reopen that case down there. But the Brickishaw Ferguson, 75th overall, that's amazing.
So the girlfriend is in jail right now?
Girlfriend died. It was a murder-suicide.
The
way it was said, yeah. Okay, so number 81 overall, Nnamdi Asomugha, $71 million. And that was a few years ago. So he had the money he brought with his to his marriage to Miss Washington. So there's a reason he's a house husband, because he can afford to be. She's making shows and doing Scandal, and he's out there watching the kids. So, yeah, exactly. So this is WHPC Sports Talk, 516-572-7440, 516-572-7440. Over there, you got Mark Tarkovsky. Right there, you got Tristan Hamilton, and my name is Chris Muldoon. We're here every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. 100% commercial free. We'd love to hear what you have to say. 516-572-7440, 516-572-7440.
Baseball's already back. And
and it's funny because I'm watching the games. Some people were tired today. Yes, I watched. Like the other day, I'm like, wait, this is going on right now. Cause I thought I'm like, oh, they're playing a replay. I'm like, no, this actually is going live from Japan. And this morning I watched it, and I got to see the retirement. I got to see the at-bats for Ichiro, who went 0 for 3 today, so brought his average down. I think it's like 311, 310 now all time. But it was interesting to see the games from Japan. It was the Mariners and the A's playing. So I guess the 2-game series. One day one team was a home team. The next day the other team was a home team. And in the full house. And Ichiro at 45 got to play his final games as a Mariner.
Is he from Tokyo, or is he from?
I think he's from Tokyo. Yeah, I don't think he's from the suburbs.
It'd be weird if you're from some weird off onset, and then you play your last game in Tokyo. It's like I guess.
Well, it's kind of the fact but it's the center of the world. Like if you're English, if you're from Yorkshire or wherever, London's still the center. Just like if you're from Wading River, Manhattan's still the center of where you're gonna want to be, because it's the main place, it's the metropolis, it's all those things. It's what everyone considers where you're from.
He's from what is it called? Nagoya. I don't know how to pronounce it.
So is that how do you spell it?
Nagoya.
Nagoya. So where is that? And just click on that city, and they should have a map of where it is in proximity to
It's in the Chubu
Tokyo.
region.
All right.
So I don't know how far that is from Tokyo, but it was really. I just watched the video just a few seconds ago. They all left the field.
Yeah,
they let him
did.
have
Well,
his
it was
moment.
weird. They thought that, so he got his last at bat in the top of the eighth. It was the bottom of the eighth, and the announcers, because I watched it live, the announcers thought that Scott Service, the manager, would call him back. And call the guys back and have the rest of him go out by himself to right field. Then he'd pull him back. No, instead he had the whole team. He's like, "Get out there, guys!" The whole team went out there. He threw his warm ups to the center fielder and everything back and whatever. And then when it was time for the batter to step up, he went and had players come off. And then Ichiro walked off by himself. Then he hugged every single person from the Mariners, including like the non-uniform personnel and everything.
Yeah, and you know who the first one to greet him in the dugout was?
Well, D. Gordon bowed to him. They've been teammates with the Marlins, and D. Gordon bowed to him. And then that Japanese pitcher who made his debut today,
Wasn't the first one in the dugout? Griffey.
Well, no, Griffey was at the end. He got him at the end of the dugout. He did it on the field first. He'd hug everyone at the field.
Yeah.
But there was a Japanese pitcher who was 27 who made his debut today, and he was crying. And D. Gordon was crying at second base as well, but he was crying.
Did he announce this is his last year?
Yeah,
okay. He didn't announce it
before the game.
He didn't announce it like
before
last
the game.
year.
He told the Mariners this is it. So then it became breaking news.
Wow.
You know what's great though? I'm happy about no retirement tour. He did it with class. I'm sorry, anybody who retires and just retires,
he
doesn't get a tour.
He also hung on a bit too long because all those years with the Marlins, it was National League, so there's no DH. There's only pinch hitter, so we get one at bat maybe, and then he would play like every third day or whatever it was. I mean, and then what did he do? Did he do a season with the Yankees or a half a season? Yeah, a year and a half with the Yankees. How long was he with the Yankees? Year and a half. Yeah, because he was a mid-season guy, and then they had 1 year left on his deal, whatever it was. So, I mean, some would say he was a compiler. They love to say that. They love to say
he's not a compiler.
They love to say, count the hits. It's like you can't count his hits from Japan. It's like counting hits.
He already got 3,000
from the minor leagues. Yeah,
though.
You don't count. He already got his 3,000 hits in the pros and the major leagues, so he doesn't need to. But Eduardo Perez was calling the game for ESPN. Now, if you ever read stories on Ichiro, he's a very complicated guy. He had his father essentially made him a machine. All the little drills he did with him as a kid and everything. He's really he won't hit home runs. He'll only hit base hits. He won't change his swing. All stuff like that. And even the exercises he does, he's very much his own thing. He's not a team player per se, which is rather odd because in Japan they're all about all for one,
except for Tom Selleck.
Mr. 3000, or was that Bernie? That was Bernie Mac.
Mr. Baseball.
Mr. Baseball was Tom Selleck. Yeah. What team was Bernie Mac? The Brewers, right?
T-Rex Pennebaker.
That's right. So may he rest in peace. But the Ichiro, if you read stories, it's just very hard to get along with. So Eduardo Perez was telling a story. It's always great. Like in I heard someone famous just described that they're using the phrase diva they use for Odell Beckham or whoever you want to name. Oh, he's a diva, she's a diva, whatever. Once and someone famous said, you know what they mean when they say someone's a diva? They mean they're a blank hole. That's what they mean. It's true. If you hear someone describe a diva was an female opera singer and whatever, that's where it came from. And then they used it for Mariah Carey, people like that. No, and then they use it for athletes or whatever.
Prima donna.
That's what it is. It's like they're a jerk. It's like they're a jerk. So Eduardo Perez is telling a story. I love when you tell a story where you're trying to get a message across, but you're sort of parsing it that he's a good guy. He's like, one time I was in a slump and I was playing with the Mariners. I was playing with Ichiro as a teammate, and I was in a slump. So Ichiro traveled with his, and he was set up with this. The guy calling the play-by-play guy sort of set him up to tell the story, Eduardo Perez, and he's like, is it true he traveled with his own case for his bats? Mm-hmm. He's like, oh yeah. Not only was it a case, it was a humidor, so it kept the temperature a certain way and the moisture and all of that. And he said one time I was in a slump and I grabbed one of his bats to use, and I got a hit, and Ichiro saw the bat, and he's like, when I was on base, he's looking at me and look like that's my bat, kind of thing. And when he got back, he said Ichiro had written on it, you can have it. Now, he didn't write anything like nice, here's yours, whatever. He just said, you can have it. So, it's like, all right, I get the story you're trying to tell. It's like, Okay, I want him. Oh, he gave you your bat.
Yeah.
He's like, it's been tainted.
It's more to it, but
it's your bat now.
If that's
it's your bat now, Pally, that you stole out of my humidor kind of thing. So yeah, if you ever read the story, just read whatever, Google like Ichiro and his dad, his training methods and his regimen and stuff. And he's got a low, like 2% body fat and the like in the stretches that he does. But he was a guy who would never alter his swing. Like Wade Boggs was always accused of being the same way. A guy would never. So one year they'd always said that Wade Boggs, they told him, you can't hit home runs. So one year he hit home runs. He hit them all. And he's like, now see, I can do it. And he went back to not hitting home runs again, just to prove that he could do it. Ichiro never did that. If the game was on the line, he was not going to swing for the fences. He was just going to do what he does, the slap of the bat. And, it's funny because in this day and age of people saying, with lines, having to toe the line on certain, not saying like dog whistle racist lines or whatever, they're describing Ichiro as like wielding his bat like a samurai, and I'm like, it's kind of. Are we allowed to say that anymore? It's like, I don't know. Can you say it's fine, but someone might take offense at that. I don't know.
Did you know Ichiro only made the playoffs twice in his career?
The playoffs with the Mariners?
They were
the
0-1 team.
The team that had all the wins after Griffey left, right? Was it Griffey? No, A-Rod. What was the year they won the most? Or was it Randy Johnson?
No, it was 0-1.
Yeah, that was the year they won like 120 games or 110 games.
And they lost to the Yankees, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was that.
That was the same year Jeter made the play against Oakland.
Jeremy Johnby. Slide, Jeremy. All you need to do is slide, Jeremy. That's all you got to do. Slide, Jeremy. Because Jeter was playing out of position. The shortstop was not supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's the whole lore, it's like, because Jeremy Johnby doesn't slide, Jeter's in the wrong place at the right time. Yeah. Boom, But
one of the greatest players.
What I do laugh at, and I said it was going to happen because age is a bad thing. It comes for you. Jeter's no longer. He's replaced by Didi, who's done a fine job replacing him. Derek is stuck with the Marlins, this crappy organization where he pretends he's an owner and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know what's going on over there.
I had said A-Rod, whose contract was going to outlast his, and did. A-Rod is the king of the world. Mm-hmm. He does the broadcasting. He's engaged to J-Lo. Mm-hmm. Derek's stuck down there in Florida, and he's with his. The wife had a mild amount of fame from the Sports Illustrated cover, but not really. She was also in like the commercial for like the Sling Box or whatever it was. It's like, that's not J-Lo.
They had a stock team, that 0-1 Mariners. The pitchers, they had Joel Pinheiro.
Okay.
He was pretty good.
At the time.
Yeah. Brett Tomko.
I loved Brett Tomko, but he was good for.
He had a 15-year career, Brett Tomko. Did you know that?
Well, he had some good years. I remember his brother was was a big fantasy baseball player, and Brett Tomko was on his brother's team. That was always a famous story.
Arthur Rhodes, a good reliever.
Closer,
lefty, right?
Yep,
Wasn't he lefty?
Yep.
And Jeff Nelson, Jamie Moyer.
Jamie Moyer, whose wedding I went to.
Yeah. And then they had Brett Boone, who was in the prime, but
it was prime steroids too.
Yeah,
that's
0-1,
yeah.
It's still steroid.
Oh, that was because '98 was McGuire and Sosa.
I guess, 0-1. That's right. Was Bonds' record year,
right?
And they had catcher that year. I think Pat Borders.
Pat Borders probably would have been more of a backup for them.
Or Tom Lampkin or Dan Wilson.
Dan Wilson was like a 267, 270 hitter.
Edgar was on the team.
He was DH, obviously. Hall of Famer Edgar Martinez. I'm so, a DH only as a Hall of Famer is already controversial enough.
Mike Cameron, Jay Buhner.
Mike Cameron was a great baseball player. Mike Cameron could hit 44 home runs and steal you 40 bases, and then he was a Met. Why'd you trade Jay Buhner? That was the famous George Costanza's dad when he meets George Steinbrenner. Why'd you trade Jay Buhner?
Funny thing is that when did Griffey play with Ichiro? Because Griffey left the prior year, so that must have been when Griffey came back.
When he came back, did he come back to the Mariners?
Didn't Griffey?
I don't know. Did they play together? I guess. I mean, Griffey is a paid ambassador for the Mariners.
Yeah, he came back 2 years, 09 and 10.
So there you go. There's a guy who
went full circle, I guess.
Career ended. And I guess Griffey probably played with Tomko with the Reds, if I had to think about that. I'm trying to think of what their years sort of overlapped there. But Dan Wilson was a great hitting catcher, and he was a pretty good catcher at that. Pat Borders was a defensive replacement. He could catch knuckleballs. Not that they had knuckleballs.
Those Cincinnati Red teams with the sleeveless jerseys.
Yeah. Ted Kluszewski?
No, they did not.
Jay Bruce was playing.
They did not overlap.
Jay Bruce was playing first base for the Mariners today.
This morning,
yeah. Well, they kept on saying tonight because they were in Japan. They kept on saying night. I'm like, it's 8:00 in the morning. What
about on the West Coast? What time were those? That's probably why they did them.
Well,
2:30 in the morning.
Well, for those two teams, like the Mariners and the two West Coast teams, Mariners and the A's.
Started at 2:30 in the morning.
But that's where they want to have more Japanese fans be from. They want them to be from Japan because of the region and where they have large. Obviously, the Bay Area has large Chinatown, right?
But also the rest of the world too.
And the Mariners were always owned by Nintendo.
But for example, the game started at 5:30 here.
Yeah. In the Eastern time zone, yeah.
So you had a mid morning game in England,
and now the
lunchtime game around the rest of Europe.
And that's kind of weird because you can't really they don't announce it as like MLB opening day. There's no great fanfare.
Opening series,
yeah, it's opening series because now they get a few days off, obviously for travel and fatigue.
Don't they go back to spring training for a few more games?
Which would be Arizona for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do they go back? I'm trying to think of that. I don't know if that makes sense to go back. I mean, your stuff's already packed because you're already packed. I would think you would go to your.
It's not a World Baseball Classic year.
No, I would think you go back to Oakland. I would think that's the whole. You break camp and you leave, and your stuff goes home or goes to your home stadium, and you make this business trip, road trip, as it were, to Tokyo, and then you come back. Now you enjoy the sights for a day or two, some sightseeing. You've seen live pitching up close and the like.
Yeah, the Mariners are playing the Padres. No, you know what they do? They do those games in the home stadium, those exhibitions in the home stadium.
That's right, the one day. So they're playing an out of the National League team then.
Yeah. They're playing them the Padres for the 25th at home.
25th.
But now they renamed it to T-Mobile Park.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's. What was it, Oco before? Oco Coliseum? Now it's...
No, that's Oakland.
Petco?
Safeco.
Seattle. Okay, Safeco. Yeah, all right. So that's...
And the Athletics are going to go play the Giants on Monday at
so
now
it'll be
Oracle Park.
Hometown, essentially,
Oracle
thing, the Bay
Park.
Area. The bridge kind of thing. This is WHPC Sports Talk. Tristan Hamilton, Bart Tarkovsky, Chris Muldoon taking your calls. 516-572-7440. 516-572-7440. I guess the Mets, I said Jay Bruce was playing first for the Mariners today. I guess the Mets are going to break camp with Dominic Smith and...
Kiko?
Yeah, and what's it called? The first baseman with all the power. Whose name?
Alonso,
yeah.
Kiko Alonso. I don't really...
Not Kiko, that was a linebacker, right?
Oh, yeah, Luke Kuechly. Yeah. I don't want the Mets to what's the word I want to use?
Because you got to start with Alonso if you bring him up.
You have to, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want them to test and
then the years happen. Then the arbitration years kick in, right? We just saw... Did you see the deal that was done yesterday with the White Sox player?
Oh, wow.
That big phenom AAA guy that they have, they signed him to like an 8-year deal. They bought out like all of his years, so he makes money he wouldn't have made ordinarily, and they get to control him and to control their costs over 6 to 8 years and the like. So, and also you get to stop the whole idea of baseball teams are being accused of colluding and keeping it down, to where there's going to be a strike. Here, the White Sox are like, hey, we paid this guy. We didn't have to pay this guy. We could have done what the Mets are doing to DeGrom, but we paid him. So we'll see what happens there.
The Mets just need to go for it.
The report the other day was that the Mets were going to have a deal with DeGrom, but I don't know what's happened from there. Unless it's some reporter just trying to make a name for himself. I don't know, but it's... The Mets also, I don't know if anyone caught that, but in spring training, they had DeGrom and Syndergaard avoid playing the Nationals because the Nationals are in West Palm Beach, so they play them quite often during spring training. So they didn't have the Nationals face DeGrom or Syndergaard to get a beat on them, which,
that's conspiracy theory right there. Come on.
Well, you pick who you're going to send on those trips or who you're going to pitch. So if you want pitchers to work on certain things, like throw a slider or take some on, take some off, get change up or whatever, you're going to want to not show them get lit up while they're working on these things by their very rival team, by their chief rival team. And it would seem that Mike Trout will not be a rival for them because he won't be with the Phillies, because he will be with the Anaheim Angels until he's 40. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for life.
For life, exactly. And if you're going to give that money to a guy, he's the guy.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the guy. I mean, if you're going to give that, not that it can ever be said that
and 1 year less than Harper and $100 million more.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's what a difference that makes. Is this Richie from Shirley?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hello, my friend. How you doing?
How you been?
I heard you call into Nick Ornberger's show on, I think it was Friday the other day.
I see how it is.
I was good. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that great?
Yeah, you're always good.
I got a question for you.
Good connection.
Nick promotes all the sports talk shows except ours.
Good connection.
We got to get him for that. So.
And I tried to call Monday, but Jacob Bork hogged up the airtime for like a half hour.
What did he call
Monday?
Was he a caller?
Yeah, he called in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just happened to be in the car and I said, "Hey, that's Nick. I'll listen because we love Nick on the show." But that's funny.
Anyway, you think Chris Mullen's job is safe at St. John's?
It's safe now because he got them a berth in the. Because even if you play in that play-in game, you get the full share. So well, that's funny. You get the.
What is the full share?
It used to be like $250,000, probably even more now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So. But the bottom line is St. John's, had a pretty good season, but the main thing is the first 12 games they play like nobody.
I don't see how St. John's can recruit because I don't see how they can recruit because they have to get a kid from New York who wants to stay home. And you're trying to sell them at best playing at Madison Square Garden. And I don't know, and I'm looking at like Tristan. Now, Tristan's now you're 24 now.
23.
But just pretend you're 23. Pretend like when you're 16, 17.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a top basketball player. Do you want to stay home or do you want to go and be seen?
Not really St. John's.
You're not going to St. John's.
No, you're not going to go to St. John's.
It's not even on your
It's not there yet.
radar.
It takes a while. Yeah. You won't.
I know what you mean. I know.
Even in football, you don't think about going to Rutgers or Syracuse if you know. Chris, just like for example, hey Richard, Curtis Samuel. I knew him growing up. He played for Erasmus High School. He obviously, he had Rutgers and Syracuse had scholarships. Urban Meyer came down to Brooklyn, and they came to Brooklyn, and he went out to Ohio State. Now then he was the second round pick for the Carolina Panthers. He's playing right now. Yeah. If you watch the Panthers, you see him. He's number 10. He's like the starting slot wide receiver. So that just goes to show you that nobody really wants. Even I don't know. I'm sure you guys know about ASA College in Brooklyn.
Yep, sure.
Nick Saban actually goes down there probably once a year and get a few of those JUCO kids and bring them up too. So nobody really wants to stay home. At least in New York. If we was in Alabama or New Orleans or Texas or something, that's one thing. But in New York, nobody wants to stay home.
Yeah, but don't forget, St. John's had a tremendous draw.
Oh, definitely. But no, definitely, and that's what I was saying, Richie. It's going to take a while for to get back. This is what basically has to happen for St. John's to do that again. Their recruits that they get, let's say within the next few years, they would have to be end up being very good, competing, going to the Sweet 16, Elite 8s, and they would have to stay relevant for maybe about 3 or 4 years, and then that's when guys will start coming. For example, Tennessee is one of the best college basketball teams this year. Nobody really used to talk about Tennessee basketball. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens. The recruits that you get, they have to actually really perform to help other guys maybe consider staying home and doing things like that.
Yeah, it's not.
You think about Pons. Do you think he should go to the?
I like Shamar Pons.
I think he should wait another year.
Wait one more year.
He's got to wait. I also think he's deeply flawed in a lot of things. He's got to work on the mental side of the game because he makes a lot of unforced errors and the like. And
he forces it too much. The thing about being a point guard, you have to know your thing is to control the pace of the game. You can't be 100 all the time and you can't be 0 all the time. You have to know when to push it, when to slow down. And I feel like that's his biggest issue in this game. He doesn't know.
The NBA. But he won't be a starter. He'll come off the bench.
I also think he's. Well, I think he's more going to be like a European player. I think like playing Europe and Greece and Italy.
Europe. Yeah,
that's well St. John's guys. If they're not, I mean, that's the thing. He's a big fish in a small pond, and I can't believe I'm calling St. John's a small pond, but it's become one. Yeah. I mean, he's a guy who, and that's the thing. We're giving him far too much credit because he's the best player on that team.
Yeah. But also just to counter that a little bit. I always forgot to pronounce his name, but the kid who won the slam dunk contest, he's from Left Rack. He went to John Brown High School by Flushing High School, and he went to Kentucky. He was not the best player in Kentucky by far his few years,
but look where he went.
But he's still on OKC though. Has a role player.
Anybody on Kentucky?
You're saying Kentucky is different. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Goes to
Kentucky is different.
You're
right.
It's like I remember, like someone told me my alma mater, Chaminade, if anyone who plays, every kid who plays on the Chaminade lacrosse team gets a scholarship to play lacrosse somewhere in a college. You're talking UVA, you're talking Ivies, you're talking whatever. So they're guaranteed. Even the center faceman went to Duke and won national championships because he just took faceoffs. That's all he took. So it's the same thing. If you go to Kentucky, you're guaranteed. They have only so many scholarships to give away, and they're giving to the cream of the creme de la creme de la creme, the tippy toppiest of all that. And they don't save. They have to save guys in reserve. If they're actually giving you, like they'll say, all right, you're good, but I still have to give to someone else first. But if I have this one left, I'll give it to you.
I'll give it to you.
They didn't do that. They don't do that.
Yeah.
This guy was the real deal.
No,
Pons was just a guy that, he's the best on St. John's, but that's really not saying much. I'm down in the Big East because if you saw them today, Marquette was abysmal. They were god-awful.
Yeah. But this is what it meant. But do you remember about 2 or 3 years ago, Marquette was always good.
Marquette's always been a great... That's where Dwayne Wade went. It's always been a great Al McGuire. It's always been a great program. But the Big East is no longer... The Big East... The reason they call the Big East was the first major conference, and the reason they started because it had every city on the Northeast. So you had Boston College in Boston, you had New York, you had Pittsburgh, you had but just even talking about the East Coast in terms of you had Philadelphia, you had Washington D.C., you had New York, you had Boston. It was all about getting this. Then you put Syracuse, then you put UConn, and then they're all you're getting all the teams in the area. But you had all the metropolises, all the metropoli, as they say.
Now, did you watch a lot of Big East games this year? Did you watch any of them?
Yeah, I did. And they what they did is they went all when Syracuse left, when Notre Dame left, when Pitt left, when Boston College left, they went and doubled down. Everyone started robbing from each other. They went with all the Catholic schools, and Butler, which is like a Lutheran school. So they brought in Xavier. They brought in Creighton. They brought in Marquette. They brought in Butler. It's a totally different kind of. They still have Seton Hall. They still have St. John's.
But the competition is really. Let me tell you something. The Big East competition. Some of these teams are really good.
Well, Seton Hall's very good. Seton Hall's a very good team.
They're really good.
But they're very well coached. Willard's a very, very good coach. But they're not like if you look at Tim Kalous, Floral Park Zone, who coached St. Mary's High School, then he coached CW Post and the LAU Post High School by now.
Yeah.
And now he's at Iona. He made the big dance again. He won the MAC conference, and there's the guy. The best team in our area is either Iona or Seton Hall. That's really saying a lot. So St. John's not even in the equation. And then in Philadelphia, things that have never... Philadelphia just fired... there's the Big Five down in Philadelphia. They play in the Palestra. There's Villanova. It's Penn. It's Temple. It's Drexel. It's LaSalle. And they always play each other. Well, St. Joe's, which was in the Final Four a few years ago when they had Jameer Nelson, they fired Phil Martelli, which is unbelievable. Yeah. And Penn fired Fran Dunphy. It's like all of a sudden, because they're now gauged because of Villanova's won, 2 national championships in the last however many years. If you're in Philadelphia, it's a different, the game has changed in Philadelphia.
Villanova just beat St. Mary's. So
and I just want to say
51-57.
I just want to say before 10 o'clock, they always like to say, rep your team before the game, not after. Go right. Syracuse. We got a game at 10 o'clock against Baylor. Let's go.
Well, when you want, it's kind of funny. I read a statement. They're talking about Mark was talking about how the NCAA tournament's just a ratings grab and it's a TV. It's so important. The NCAA this March Madness is so important for TV ratings and the NCAA. Like Jim Boeheim and Mike Krzyzewski could do anything they want. They could almost like be gifted to like the round of 8. Because they're so beloved by the NCAA and by the TV ratings and everything. Boeheim, we're going to hear for the next however many days Syracuse is in it. All we're going to hear about is their zone, their vaunted zone. Oh, then Syracuse went into their zone.
Their 2-3 zone.
Yeah, that's all we're going to hear the next 10 days about their zone.
Really annoyed me?
The
Stony Brook.
That really was ridiculous. So the Stony Brook coach goes after 2 years. Yeah. Now, he was the captain of Ohio University.
Yeah, in 1977,
but
I think it was.
The funny, it's like, so you're going to your alma mater, I get that. But Ohio University, there are stepping stone jobs. Jay Wright coaches Villanova. He coached Hofstra first, but he was from Philadelphia. So Hofstra's a stepping stone job to Villanova. It makes sense.
Right.
Stony Brook's coach, the last Stony Brook coach before this guy, Steve Pickle, went to Rutgers. Right. Makes sense. Right. Stony Brook, you go to Rutgers. That's a stepping stone job.
Right.
Ohio University, the Bearcats, are not a stepping stone job after Stony Brook. It's ridiculous that he would leave Stony Brook and go to Ohio University.
That Hofstra coach is probably going to be gone soon.
Well, he's old. He's old, and he left. He actually went sideways because Mahalik. He was the coach of Niagara, or was it St. Bonaventure? One, he was Mac school.
Stony Brook coach. He
just went sideways. He wanted to get out of the Mac because Mac was changing, and he went down to
St. Bonaventure, only in New York. That's far.
That's only in New York. Yeah.
I've been there.
It's by Rochester, I think.
No, it's not.
Mike Vaccaro went.
3 hours, 3 hours.
That's where Mike Vaccaro from the New York Post, a very good friend of this.
But that Stony Brook coach, he was making I think he was making $2 million a year coaching and stuff.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was making nice.
Because what I always like about New York, and when you when you look at there's always a thing out there of the highest paid state employee, and most crazy sports states, it's always either the head basketball coach at the state university or the head football coach at the state university. I'm proud that in New York, the highest paid employee is actually the medical doctor who heads the medical college or whatever up in Albany. So at least it's someone who's doing something, to cure cancer. It's not Bobby Knight or insert name
Bobby
here.
Hurley, was it at Buffalo?
Arizona, yeah, it was exactly Buffalo, which is why they had them play. They're playing Arizona State's playing Buffalo because he came.
There's still a ban if a New York team gets picked to the NCAA tournament and the games in North Carolina, they are not permitted to play there.
Oh, really? Is it still in the books?
Yeah, it's still in the books.
So they pulled the All-Star game from there because of that.
Right.
And that law's still in the books in North Carolina?
No, for New York. No non-essential New York business can take place.
In North Carolina?
Right.
Huh.
So it's Buffalo being a SUNY school.
I thought the NBA was so successful on getting that law changed in North Carolina.
Being a SUNY school. They can't provide business. So they had a gymnastics tournament, I think, in North Carolina. They had to stay in Virginia and drive 2 hours.
Interesting. Oh, interesting.
I just want to switch the topic a little bit. Go to the Yankees.
No.
Greg Bird is hurt again.
Oh, it's the injury watch for Greg Bird. You can tell April's coming. It's the bird watch. It's the injury watch.
The birds are chirping.
Yeah, exactly. His birds are chirping along with his hamstrings and his feet and his knees and his elbows and his ankles and his. Yeah.
I told Nick a long time ago. I said I don't think this guy's going to make it with the Yankees. How many more times the Yankees going to give up on this guy?
Well, they love the idea of him aiming at that short porch, right? That's what it is. It's like that short porch is just all they think about. That he's going to hit the home runs and he'll go over the short porch, right? So.
Well, how long is he running this?
There were 2 signings I said last week that were going to happen. Gio Gonzalez with the Yankees happened. And what was I saying last week? I was being talked down on the fact that Matthews was going to sign with the Rams. Right?
No, I didn't talk down on you. I was hoping that he didn't. But no, you were right.
It was Joshy.
Oh, yeah. You were right. I was hoping that he for some reason signed with us.
Yeah,
but
he was clearly going. He was played for USC, lives in California.
Sue's a free agent, though. I didn't know Sue didn't resign. Yeah. We could bring that in.
Did you see how Hagati Nagata retired, or however you say his name?
Nada?
Yeah. Did you see how he retired?
No.
On top of a big peak, a big mountain. It wasn't Mount Everest, but it was a really big, famous mountain. And he was on the top, and he unfurled his retiring message and like a banner. So he climbed the peak of a mountain, which is really cool. I mean, drop the mic. How do you top that?
Wow.
It's like that's really cool. So.
Yeah, the thing too is, what do you think about the Yankees here? I think the Yankees would be in good shape this year.
Well, Vegas says they're the favorite. Vegas has them above the Red Sox. So these guys get paid for their decisions, for their moves, their thoughts and their prognostications. So if the smart money, as they say, smart money is on the Yankees. So why bet against them? I can't believe Craig Kimbrell is still available out there.
Oh, right.
But the Brewers are talking to him, but we'll see. When can he be ready? What's he? I can't imagine the kind of pitching he's been doing to stay in pitching shape hasn't really been.
What about the Red Sox bullpen? Their bullpen is not so good this year.
Yeah, I mean, people are down on the Red Sox, but all I know is how many wins they had last year, and I also know that aren't they the defending champion? And also, aren't they? Aren't they just? Isn't Betts still on the way up?
I think he is, right?
I wanted I wanted to test to see if Josh was listening, and that's why I said what I said. Yeah. And clearly he is.
No.
Yeah. Apparently, let's go and check, because I don't think it was Kevin who didn't say he was going to L.A. last week.
Yeah.
So,
I remember.
Somebody said no way. So we have it on the podcast. We'll have to look it up to see who it was. It's very checkable. But it wasn't Kevin and it wasn't Mark. So somebody said that he wasn't going to the Rams.
It could have been. Me.
It was somebody who said it.
Somebody said he was going to the Knicks too.
Yeah, because he knows somebody's brother.
Hey, godson. If the Knicks get the number 1 pick, you think they should pick Williams?
If the Knicks get number 1 basketball picks,
what is this RJ guy? Who's this RJ?
RJ Barrett.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but if they get number 1 pick, you're going Zion Williamson. No, Zion Williamson is going to be the number 1 pick no matter what.
I feel like that's the Knicks type pick though, like to get that, because you know what happens? They say he's a generational player
until he goes to the Knicks. No, but I mean, this guy, we've never seen anything like this guy. He is. He's incredible. It's the same thing like Kevin Harden. James Harden. He's doing Wilt Chamberlain-esque things. It's unbelievable. He's scored 50 points in like 5 consecutive months and games. It's just crazy stuff.
Now, you think do you think he'll be able to drive to the basket against these guys more bigger and powerful in the NBA?
But, the referee...
And his vertical, that's what a lot of people don't... First of all, what is he, 280?
307.
307, and his vertical...
307?
307. If he was in the NBA today, he'd be the second weightiest, second heaviest player in the NBA today. So
he's got
Shaq was 300 pounds for a reason. He was that big. 6'7" is
apparently at the Meadowlands when the rim collapsed. Apparently he pulled on it.
Oh, who was Zion?
No, Shaq. Remember that 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, Shaq weighed what he did for a reason. But. And there's a reason why Strahan and Joe Thomas and these guys shed the weight afterwards, because that's pre-diabetes. You want to get the hell out of that.
May he rest in peace, Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah.
He was a heavy guy.
It was like the same week. I think Darryl Dawkins and then the other guy who was Moses Malone, I think, both went in the same week.
They were big boys.
They're big boys. Well, the Centers for Disease Control don't even have a category for people above 6'10", because it's such a small percentage of the... There are more people who will get the mumps, essentially, but I'm making that not the mumps, but then certain diseases that are 6'10" and above, and that's how that being 6'10" and above is a bad thing for your health. It really Marfan's with the heart, and it's big and large hearts.
It takes a longer process for the blood to pump through the whole body.
Somebody's more likely to get bubonic plague than being over 6'10".
That's what it is. I mean, there's no classification for. You can count the number of 6'10" people you've ever seen in your life, except watching basketball. Mm-hmm. And it's not a non-basketball playing 6'10" and above is a tough life. Mm-hmm. It's like one of those God provides to create basketball. Yeah. But there are 6'10" people out there who do not play professional basketball.
Usually, those people have a pituitary gland.
Correct. Yeah, that's what it is. Giantism and the like.
Those guys are
like Andre the Giant's life was not a happy one. The things, and at least nowadays they've gotten better in terms of accommodations, private jets, whatever. He used to have to fly regular planes in regular bathrooms, and they don't have that. He couldn't go to they had to put a towel while he'd go to the bathroom because he couldn't fit in the thing, so someone would have to cover him while he went to the bathroom in a seat on the plane.
Paul White, the Big Show? Yeah. He only likes to travel by bus.
Right, that's all. I mean, it's
not coach, obviously.
There was a when I used to go down to Louisville, Kentucky, there was a hotel I'd stay in. It was an old-time hotel. I remember the name of it, but it's where all the basketball players would stay because the ceilings were 12 foot tall. So in the hotels, and the beds were all extra big beds. Yeah. So they loved that, because think about the bed you have at home, and think about what a 6'10" and above person needs for a bed. It's ridiculous. It's not happening.
Before I go, somebody on Facebook showed a picture of the Boston Red Sox bathrooms up in Fenway Park.
Those troughs?
Man,
what is they still have troughs at Fenway?
And Fenway, and the other thing too. When you got to go number 2, forget it. Well,
I remember because I was used to being from New York, and then I went out to both Notre Dame Stadium and Wrigley Field when I was in college, and there were troughs. And I'm like, you want me to go where? I'm going to pee standing next to these guys? And this long, it's like, really? Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not going to happen. So...
Well, it's unbelievable. Why don't they fix the place?
Well, they have. They no longer have them in Wrigley and in Notre Dame Stadium. So I guess Boston's just being Boston.
Trough.
The troughs.
Did you go to any Notre Dame game this year?
I did. I went to the Stanford game. I went to Syracuse at Yankee Stadium, and I went to the game in the Stanford game, which was like September 24th ish, out in South Bend. Yeah, I went with my father-in-law, his neighbor, and his neighbor's son who lives in Chicago.
Has Miami ever played?
You're smart, man. You went when it was nice and warm, right?
Anytime once it's past October 11th, I do not go anywhere near the Midwest.
Has Miami ever played in Notre Dame?
Miami, Ohio, Florida.
Florida.
That's the famous Catholics vs. Convicts game.
That was in Miami, I thought.
No, that was October 15th, 1988.
So you didn't go to that game by 4 days?
No, that was my freshman year.
Okay, so you didn't go to that game.
I didn't go to that game because it was my October break. I went home.
I'm saying since then, in the modern era.
Oh, the modern era? No, I did. The Catholics vs. Convicts 2 years later was October 20th of 1990. That game I stayed behind for and took the Long Island Club bus home. I took a bus the next day home. All the kids from Long Island.
You know what I meant to tell you?
But I was home for Catholics vs. Convicts, the first one, because I wanted to come home. It was my first break as a freshman. I'd been away for 66 days. And it was also the day that Kirk Gibson hit the home run.
You were the only guy talking, hello, everyone knows, yeah, we went to the game,
You know, I meant to tell you the time that I seen you and your dad when we met Tom Seaver.
I referenced that 2 weeks ago. I was telling the story about the Tom Seaver. Yeah, that was...
I was saying, I thought about it. I said, listen, we seen the guy with greatness, and we seen him one of the best pitchers in all time.
Yep.
I don't know if you were there or not, mate. A guy was taking a picture with his family. Okay, and the guy ran out of batteries in his camera. So Tom Seaver says, "All right, listen, I really got to go, but listen, go across the street, get some batteries, and I'll wait." So wait 10 minutes, and we were talking to Tom Seaver for like 10 minutes. So I heard a lot of nasty things about him.
Yeah, but not that day. He was so magnanimous that day. Yeah, Steve Novick was talking about that. He's like, and my dad was saying he really went out of his way to be like extra. And I think he knows that. I think he'd learned that he'd been known as being this ornery guy, and so he was like coached to be that way because he was very funny and very nice that day. And he went behind he put an ice cream hat on, and he went behind. He was scooping ice cream. Who wants ice cream? And they're like, and the Mets announced today that the new address for Citi Field is going to be 41 Tom Seaver Way, because right now it's like 126-08 Roosevelt Avenue. Yeah. It's now going to be 41 Tom Seaver Way. So at least that's a start.
Are you still doing Piano Man?
Yeah, every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh,
right here at 90.3.
All right, guys. Nice talking to you.
You got it, Richie. Good talking to you.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
There goes Richie from Shirley. Phone lines are open, 516-572-7440, 516-572-7440. Let me tell the listeners out there what you listen to. The name of the show is WHPC Sports Talk. We're here every Thursday evening, 9 p.m., 100% commercial-free, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mark Tokachkovsky over there, Tristan Hamilton, my name is Chris Muldoon, Kevin Boston Hill, and Josh Silverberg, normally here, are on assignment for this week. We'll be back next week, 90.3 WHPC, WHPC HD.
And we have one line only.
But we're into marathon season here for the shows on the station where people donate, just fully tax deductible, and it's a commercial-free, non-commercial, non-profit educational radio station. No advertisements, rely on money provided by the college as well as listener donations to support our educational mission. So we're in the marathon season. I was told we're going to be next Thursday would be our night. It's opening day. But Mark and I were talking before the show that I don't know if opening day of the Major League Baseball season is the right time to do it because people are paying attention to other things. Plus, it's the round of 32 of March Madness, and Mark's not going to be here next week.
Right.
And even today, like with Josh and Kevin, we didn't know until this afternoon they weren't going to be here.
Right.
So we really got to have a full commitment. I'm not here the 11th because my son has NYSSBA. Do you guys ever do NYSSBA? Yes. So my son has NYSSBA. He's got two things. He's got vocals and drums, and they went and made it the same night. So he's got one at 7:20 and one at 8 o'clock.
Where? The same building?
Same building. Yeah.
Where are they doing it this year?
Well, it goes by it's going to be at Plain Edge High School, so where his is going to be because they do
that's all the hidden path.
They do Massapequa, Farmingdale, all in the same. They share every other year or something.
Oh
yeah,
what's the name of
but it's closer to my it's closer to my house than
Farmingdale High School.
No, well, they're pretty close, but it's closer. Plain Edge Middle School is really Bethpage. It's over by Stewart Avenue.
That's on the other side of Hempstead Turnpike.
Yeah,
all the other schools in Plain Edge are south.
Exactly, and that one's over by the Starbucks and Burger King and the hospital, St. Joe's or whatever they call it nowadays. But so he's got NYSSBA at 7:20, 8 o'clock on the 11th. So there's no way I'm gonna. Number one, my wife would kill me, and number two, it's going to want to be there for it. So the 11th wouldn't be good. So there would be April 4th.
Wingate Drive.
Wingate Drive, April 4th or 8th, the Red Devils, April 4th or April 18th, because the NFL draft is the 25th. So we don't want to do the 25th, but I think we can get good guests for either the 18th to do NFL draft and do Mets and Yankees talk, or we could do the 4th and do NFL draft. And if what are the Yankees and Mets doing on the 4th? Are they on the road? Do they
April 4th?
Yeah.
April 4th is also when the Jets uniforms get released.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The new uniforms.
So we just got it. We'll talk to the gentleman who runs the station.
Mets are 110.
At home?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And Yankees are 305.
What about the next day? Are they traveling? Because that matters in terms of if you get the writers.
Mets are they're Friday.
If they're home, it's good to get the writers because the writers won't have to travel. They'll be home already. Sometimes it's
April 5th?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the opening day stuff. So that's like...
What's April 5th? The off day? Or
yeah.
Or April 5th is the fall off in case of rain out?
Yes.
Very interesting. So we'll see.
So that could be a good day if it doesn't rain.
Could be. It depends if guys are on... if the guys are on... deadline and the like, and have to write like 3 stories for everything. But again, it's marathon season, so there will be a lot of shows on this station. That's odd. That's really odd. That's in case of a rain out. It is marathon season, so you want to be giving to your favorite
might be a good day.
shows. Favorite shows in this station. And the Piano Man marathon will be, I'm going to do it in conjunction with Billy Joel's 70th birthday. So he turns 70 on May 9th. So, I don't know. So on May 9th, maybe he's been on before, but doesn't use his real voice. May 9th, we're going to do it on Cinco de Mayo. May 5th, we'll do the marathon for Piano Man in honor of Billy's 70th birthday. William Martin Joel, who grew up there on Meeting Lane in Hicksville. It was the only house on the block that did not have a driveway. Now it has a driveway. If you drive past it, I think it's like 47 Meeting Lane or something.
A parking patch?
But now if you're, or the carports. Yeah, I love when people have carports.
On their stone slab?
But let me give you the Sports Legal ID. You're listening to WHPC HD 90.3. We're located in scenic and historic Garden City, Long Island, New York. And let's give you this, and we'll be right back with Sports Talk on 90.3. Listen to these things that promote our other great shows, WHPC Sports Talk here.
Want more sports? We have more sports. Catch WHPC Sports Talk all week to get your sports fix.
Break it down.
Monday mornings at 9. Monday afternoons at 5. Tuesday afternoons at 5. Thursday nights at 9. And Friday afternoons at 3.
Come and get some of this.
WHPC Sports Talk. Exclusively on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, WHPC HD Garden City, and on the iHeartRadio app.
90.3 WHPC wants to let you know that Wednesday, April 17th, is our second ever WHPC Day at Miller's Ale House of Levittown. On Wednesday, April 17th, Miller's Ale House of Levittown is hosting a Give Back Day to support WHPC. More information can be found by searching for 90.3 WHPC on Facebook, at 903 WHPC on Twitter, or at 903 WHPC on Instagram. Miller's Ale House is located at 3046 Hempstead Turnpike in Levittown, across from the Tri-County Flea Market, where WHPC's Give Back Day is Wednesday, April 17th from 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Thanks to you and Miller's Ale House of Levittown for supporting the non-commercial educational radio at the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
The gloves are coming off. We're about to go full court press. It's time to play ball. Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now. Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. Huddle up. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
All righty, sports fans, we're back right here on 90.3 WHPC Sports Talk. And I'm Chris Muldoon. Over there is Mark Talk-Vikovsky. Over there is Kristen T. Sizzle Hamilton. And we've got one more commercial-free hour of sports talk to go.
I just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. You're like Only fish go with the flow. The famous line.
Sometimes there's marriages you don't know why it is.
Chris, I wanted to tell you too. I think definitely one thing that you really should do this year. You should take. Both of your sons are Jets fans?
My one son has become a huge Jets fan because of Tristan Hamilton.
Yeah.
He's going to turn 17 on April 1st on Tavares Day. I think we're going to go to that game on his birthday. The other guy could care less about any sport under the sun.
Okay, he's a Fortnite guy, right?
He's a Fortnite guy. He's
Apex Legends.
Even this week, because we got him a gaming PC for Christmas. So now he's been playing Minecraft because you can code on it.
You know what sucks now as a parent? If your child's a gamer, they don't have to ask for the game anymore.
Oh no, I know,
because the game is free.
Right. Although I saw today, all of a sudden I saw across on my email
purchases.
I purchased apparently. Let me open it up here because it's kind of funny. Because apparently on where am I going here?
That's the king micro purchases
on Microsoft Store. Apparently, I purchased for $4.99, which comes to tax $5.42. The Laguna Pack, Fortnite, the Laguna Pack.
How much?
$4.99, so $5.42 after taxes. On the same day, my older son, who's obsessed with those Funko Pops, you ever seen those plastic figurines? He went and took our Target gift cards and bought something on Target for $20 of Target gift cards. So I'm like, do you know, I can have you arrested.
That's a generation gap, you know that?
I can have you arrested.
If you're like in the generation of Fortnite and whatever, you're like people my age play Fortnite, but we're not buying anything.
Right.
We're smart enough to know that we don't. But the generation gap is our micro purchases. We're spending $1, $2. We go to 7-Eleven, we get a cup of coffee. You know that's cool. But the kids,
in my day, people who stole from their parents did it to buy booze or drugs.
Right.
It was addictions. But these are addictions. I mean, these are addictions no matter how it is.
My point that I was going to try to make it happens once every 4 years when it counts. You should definitely go to the Giants and Jets game this year. The Jets are technically the home team. Stadium will be lit up in green.
I remember the Giants Jets preseason game. Like they always play a preseason game.
It's every year.
And I went with I was just married, so it was 98, and I took my wife and my brother. We meeting up my brother and all his friends, and we're tailgating in the parking lot and everything. And I remember because it was 98 because all his friends were from the neighborhood. They're like, hey, there's a lot of houses for sale by us. Why don't you come look and buy a house by your parents? And my wife and I are like, there's no way in hell we're going to live by my parents. And I'm like, it would be like everybody loves Raymond. It would be terrible. And my brother's like, yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that. So
you could have lived on the Herrick side.
Yeah, no, but still, it was too close. The town was my dad's town. I mean, like, there's a park named after him. So it was like, no, that ain't happened. But we missed the very first play of the game. The first play of the game was the Giants were going to allow Jason Sehorn to return kickoffs.
Yeah.
So Jason Sehorn tore his ACL while returning his first and only kickoff. It was in that preseason game. So we walk in, we're like, what we missed? What'd you miss? You missed a lot. You missed a whole heck of a lot. So it was, that was. There's another guy, Jason Sehorn. There's a guy who had some, USC guy, single mother, and then went to New York and married Angie Harmon, all that stuff. They've now gotten divorced. And
2 games this year, guys. The Rams one didn't go well. Well, it was just the timing was bad last year. Couldn't really do it. But the Jets and Giants this year is definitely happening, and I will be seeing those Philadelphia fans this year for sure when the Jets go to Philly to play the Eagles this year. I will be watching that game, so that's something also to and I'm gonna let them have it.
Are you going to any road games this year?
Yeah, I'm going to when the Jets go play Philly.
Okay,
yeah, I'm
and that, can you do an up down? Do you have to stay overnight, or can you do it?
I think I might just do it. I don't think I need to send it right. Yeah, right. Early leave, get there.
Yeah,
watch the Jets beat up on Wednesday, and come back. Definitely
root for the team in green.
Yeah, whichever one.
Exactly. You can't go wrong.
Just wear a green jacket.
Now what week is it? Because I'm trying to think. Because
that's what I was saying. I have to wait. The dates right now.
They haven't announced the schedule yet, right?
Yeah, we just know the teams that they're playing against.
We know who they're playing, but they haven't announced the schedule.
We don't, and that's why the Jets are offering $100,000 for whoever gets the schedule right. You're normally good at these things. You should really try to add to your bank account.
It comes down to hotels and stuff.
But
that's true. But you should. So you got to do which gate?
No. It's easy. You know how you do it too. Some stadiums are multi-use.
So you know who's got a concert. If it's a concert or in New York area, if it's a Jewish holiday, there's certain things they don't have.
Right.
Certain
also, like
if it's a college game and tip me a piece.
Exactly. Yeah. No. But the thing is, it's all about the hotels. So I won't be able to tell So when 9/11 happened, the Super Bowl they would never play the Super Bowl in February. It wasn't allowed, so to say. 9/11 happens. The schedule that week, they don't play games because they learned from their mistake when they played games after JFK was assassinated back in 1963. So they didn't play games that Tuesday the 11th, so it would have been 12, 13, 14, like the 16th. They didn't play games December 16th of 2001, nor the Monday, September 17th. And they all of a sudden had to move the Super Bowl back. The Super Bowl that year was going to be in New Orleans. And I think U2 played it, actually. And they, at that time, was a car convention, a car dealership owners convention. Well, the guy who owned the Saints, Tom Benson, was a car dealer.
Right?
Yeah, he just passed this past year.
And he also owns the Pelicans. He used to own the Pelicans.
He was based in San Antonio, so he always wanted to own San Antonio. But the Spurs were owned by Red McCombs, who has the University of Texas Business School named after him. Okay. And the thought was always that he would move the Saints, especially after Katrina. He'd move the Saints to the Alamo Dome and everything, but it didn't happen. But he's always a guy who was all about San Antonio. And that was always the fear of everyone in New Orleans. Well, he was a car dealership guy, and they went and said, Tom, you gotta pay off this convention to move to the previous week or the week after, because we need February 4th, whatever it was that year, we need to have the Super Bowl. We have to have it. And he succeeded. He got that. That was one of the things why the NFL went overboard to help him with the Saints, because he did a favor for them. Therefore, they took solid for them, took care of him. But once the NFL realized, wait a second, things don't melt if we play the Super Bowl in February. Wow, we can play the Super Bowl in February. Let's do it. Every subsequent game, the Super Bowl's always been in February.
I just text you guys, put in the group chat what the Jets, so you can see all the home teams and all the away teams that the Jets will be playing. This year I'm not gonna guess. I'm not gonna make my predictions.
When are the Jewish holidays this year in terms of one's Rosh Hashanah, one's Yom Kippur? Because Jets and Giants can't play on those days.
I'd make a prediction
for the fans.
If the NFL decided to add more games, does that mean they play Super Bowl President's Weekend? That would be interesting.
See, that's the thing.
Nope.
We've seen the weekend of, and it's not going to happen, but it would be kind of cool, and they're so close. Martin Luther King weekend is now a 3-day holiday, right? But they wouldn't do it because it's just wrong. And as people who are alive when Dr. Martin King was alive, they're not going to do it. But that would be a good weekend to have it, because the Super Bowl is so late. On Monday, everyone's dead tired or whatever. So if they could push it to President's Day, which they can't, because it'll be the 22nd. They're not going to do that because it's spring training, you're fighting all kinds. But they would if they played extra games. That's
apparently
what they would do.
Football overrides everybody.
No, it's not. Yeah, we just saw what happened. They're not touching the whole race issue in the NFL. We saw what's going on there.
It's a leap year.
So it's leap year.
So that means it's on the 29th of September.
Okay. What day of the week is that?
Sunday and Monday.
So there you go.
Monday
and Monday.
And Tuesday school will be closed.
Okay, but sundown Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
That means that the Giants and Jets have to be done to do 1 o'clock games. 1 o'clock games, yeah. So that's an effect kind of thing that you got to do.
So then you would have to get. Oh yeah, so you would have to guess the Thursdays.
Right.
Will they play on this?
Yeah, they could do a Thursday or.
Will they play on a Saturday game? The Jets probably not, right?
They don't do that time of year Saturday games.
But also the Jets again. I don't know why. This alternate game. They also do play the Jaguars again. So just when you always play the Jaguars, there's a chance that you might have a London game too, right?
Yes, that's right. Their home games are London. There is a chance of that, yeah. That's a very good chance of that.
Yeah, but you got to check the Wembley schedule.
Yeah,
because the soccer games.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. Now, look, when is Passover this year? Because that matters for our
end of April.
Yeah, that's what matters for us.
When is Pascha?
You're asking me? I'm asking you. You're asking me. You're asking me. It's gonna be you. But I know that the 18th would be Holy Thursday, because Easter this year is the 21st.
That's what it's Pascha. Isn't that how you say it? Isn't that the...
Easter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that the biblical name for Easter?
The Paschal mystery, the Paschal calendar. Yeah. Well, in Dutch, though, in the Dutch language, so in German, Easter is Oster. But in Dutch, you don't know this, but Tristan, you've colored eggs before for Easter?
Yes.
Do you know the name of the company that makes the kits that everyone uses?
No.
It's Paz, P-A-A-S. You see the Paz kit, you always get Paz with the metal spoon kind of thing.
Yes.
In Dutch, Paz is Easter. So literally, you're making Easter eggs. Okay. They're literally Easter is what.
So Good Friday is April 19th?
Yes.
So the first night of Passover is April 19th.
Wow.
So all restaurants should basically close that day.
I'm still mad that on March 15th last week, no restaurants were having Caesar salad as a special. You got to have a Caesar salad on March 5th. It's the Ides of March, right? But because I'm wondering, because if we do the radiothon for sports, WHPC Sports Talk, on the 18th, that's Holy Thursday, the night before Passover. It might not be a bad night, or it could be a bad night. I'm not sure.
Like, I used to work at Johnny Rockets, on Friday night.
Did you?
Yeah, and guess what? On Friday nights during Lent, guess how many people would show up there?
Oh, really?
Nobody.
Well, now they come out and put like luncheon specials on various restaurants.
I know that you play certain divisions, right? Every year, once every
fourth year.
How do they determine? Because, all right, for example, this year, obviously we have a division game. The Jets played the AFC. They played the NFC East, your division, Giants. And they played the AFC North. That's the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals.
Okay.
And then they have the 2 alternate games,
which are like
Oakland and Jacksonville.
They always play Oakland.
The Jets, right?
The seeding.
The seeding. That's what it is.
They play Oakland, and then in Jacksonville, the 2 alternate games. How do they decide? So basically, in another 4 years, this will be the exact same.
No, because the placing. Let's just say
last place schedule, first place schedule, second place schedule. That's how they do it.
So it's like a bracket.
They have an algorithm that runs it.
No. So let's just. So say if the Chiefs in 4 years become last place and the Jets are in last place. Even though you think it's the same schedule 4 years ago, they play the Chiefs instead of the Raiders because the Chiefs were in last place in the AFC West.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's odd the way they do it.
I was wondering, how do they come up with the?
So they call it a last place schedule, a first place schedule.
Because there's 2 games a year that are based off your seating in your division.
Now it gets kind of cutesy because the Raiders and the Jets were original AFL teams.
Yeah.
So they like them to play
a lot of as often as possible.
So because it's just a traditional.
And do you guys? Speaking of the Raiders, Burfict and brothers on the same team. But they had to apologize. How practice is going to be?
It just goes to show what I've been saying all along. When we try to use these, like I call them thousandaire, I either call them little kid stuff or thousandaire stuff. When we start thinking like in our terms, like these guys don't get along, we can't have them.
No, but
when you're millionaires, it doesn't matter.
But this is what I want to say. Basketball is one thing, right?
Yeah.
I know that everybody that watch football remembers the hits that Burfict put on Brown. Those are some career-ending hits that he put on him.
It just doesn't matter because they're all getting paid. I mean, it's like Lance Stevenson and LeBron James.
That's true. No more blowing in the air, right?
It doesn't. It just doesn't. They're all getting
now
paid.
They just play the guitar.
It doesn't matter. And they got the same agents.
Yeah,
and
guess what? They got together in no playoffs.
Right, exactly. Great combination. You should have stayed mad at each other. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I also love. Have you ever done this where you take on someone else's feud? Usually it's a family thing. It's like you're not supposed to like that guy, so you hate that guy.
Hate him because
next thing you know, your friends like talking to them like, I hate that guy, but now you're back with him. What the hell? It's like I hate that.
Guilty by association.
What's Mark doing? I'm looking at Mark.
No, I'm looking at maps. I don't know.
Like Google?
I love globes. If there's a store, like if I go into like Home Goods or whatever stores have globes, I love globes. So I'll be transfixed for the next hour just looking at globes. Because when you look, I love looking at
I still have one in my room.
I look at the Middle East. Oh, I love globes.
Yeah,
you look at the Middle East or you look at Africa.
Yeah.
Or even South America. It's like, you never realize where countries are and how close they touch.
I
love that.
Fun of me or like
no, why do you like globes too?
Yeah, I
love globes.
No, because I went to
I would have a globe room if my wife was
I went to upstate New York today, like to a place I'd never been to before. Like I was like completely lost, and that usually doesn't happen to me.
Oh, I'm fascinated.
Upstate New York.
What Blau? You said before.
Blauvelt, New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Remember the other day?
It's by Palisades Mall.
Remember the other day I told you guys? What's the place I went up to? It was
Isn't that a big
Tarrytown?
Is that a big Orthodox community?
No, further.
Okay.
I forgot the place I told you guys I was going to. It was to help my sister. She was buying like her first car, so I had to take her all the way. The day that I missed. What's the name
was she buying a used car or a dealer?
Katona?
No, it's from a dealer.
Katona's next to Somers. Katona's a rich community. It's next to Somers.
That's on the other side of the river, though. I was on the west side of the river.
There were these 2 girls I went to college with. They were Lindsay and Ashley McGinnis, or I don't know. They were from Katona, and then my friend Mike moved to Somers. That's how I know where it is.
But I was like on a hill where like I felt like I was like up like a.
Oh really? You were a
up in the
shining
air.
beacon on a hill.
And
So
I was in a rinky van. Okay. And so it was an interesting day. By the way, we didn't get into 516-572-7440 as a number to call. We did not get into the NBA. Did anybody see the net game the other night against the Kings?
D'Angelo.
25 points down in the fourth quarter. D'Angelo Russell coming through, and wow.
Yeah, no, that game, that game was amazing. That single hand performance, I was watching it happening. I'm just like,
I
is
was
this
sleeping.
really? But when I know because you was sorry. So now I can't really actually.
I can't watch the game. I'm sleeping. I got to work too early.
Yeah, because you fell asleep. So I wanted to know like what your reaction would have been that D'Angelo Russell, he was so hot the whole fourth quarter, right? But then they fully denied him the ball for the last shot. You know,
I'm not really watching the games, but all I know is that I only watch really the home games, to be honest with you. But I know for a fact that
right now you guys are 7th seed, right?
Right, because like I said before they left on the trip, my when we close out the show,
yeah,
I said, what did I say? This road trip is going to make or break whether or not they get the 6th seed.
Yeah.
Because everyone thought when Oladipo went down that the Nets were going to maybe go to the 5 seed. They were playing a little hot.
But Pacers, they just been doing their thing. Yeah.
And the Celtics have dropped off a little bit.
Yep.
The Celtics played the 76ers last night. I don't know what happened there. But the Nets, they fell down when everyone thought they were going to go up. So now this West Coast trip, they got to play the Lakers tomorrow.
Yeah.
And 10:30.
Which should be a win. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah,
if they show up, it should be a win. What about my Knicks beating the... Did you see that play blocking LeBron to win the game?
That I did not see.
Yeah, the Knicks beat the Lakers. LeBron had a chance to win the game. He was up 1, I believe.
Were they giving him chants over there?
Huh?
Were they chanting at him over there like? LeBron?
No. It was just a good game. He always try to perform well when he's in New York.
Yeah.
But they were down 1. He got the ball isolated at the top, tried to drive and got pinned. It was beautiful. I know the Knicks is having a bad season, but it's always good, especially and then LeBron didn't shake nobody's hand or anything. He just walked right off the court. It was a good game to see the Knicks actually pull out.
WHPC.
But going into the season, the Jets and the Giants, they both have some things I feel that they still need to work on. Chris was talking earlier about how the Giants might get Metcalf, but I think that if they were to, that would be a whole lot of too much pressure. We have a caller. Caller, you're on Sports Talk.
Yeah, hi, this is Charlie from Floral Park.
Hey
Charlie, how you doing?
I'm good. Been a while.
Yes, it has. How you been?
Just a couple of points I wanted to go over, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Go ahead.
Tom Seaver, you were just discussing.
Yes.
And rightfully so, the Mets, I think, are going to make a statue to him this year.
About time.
But,
who do they have there in the stadium that honors their team, besides the little museum?
No, I think it's totally appropriate, but where was Tom Seaver in the 1986 World Series?
He wasn't on the team.
He was in the Red Sox dugout.
Yes, that we discussed, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you discuss that?
Yes, last week, yes.
That is just so ironic that here he is, that the Mets would let him go twice.
But he's on 69, though. So I know a guy who stopped being a Met fan after they let him go. He said, that was enough for me, became a Yankee fan. I said, come on.
It's just amazing that they would let Tom Seaver, the franchise, go twice. The other thing is, if the Yankees don't make the World Series this year, the last decade they didn't make the World Series?
That's correct. They have not made it since they won it back in 2009.
No, that's right. So that would be
they played Pedro in the Phillies.
The 1910s was the last decade that the Yankees didn't make the World Series.
1910s, and that was before
That's 100
Babe
years.
Ruth.
They basically went 100 years making the World Series.
But there was a time from, what was it, in the 70s until 96 where they didn't win, too.
Oh, yeah, they only made it once in the 80s. They went in 81, they made it to the series.
Against the Dodgers, they lost the time.
Yeah, I was there for the last game.
Oh, very nice.
That was wild. But it just shows you what sustained excellence they've had for 100 years. I mean, they make the World Series every decade, and they probably will this year, too, so then they'll keep that record going.
The statue will be done in 2020, by the way.
Yep.
That will coincide with the name change of the address of the stadium.
Cool. Very cool.
41 Tom Seaver Way.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, I was at Penn in 1979.
Franklin Field?
Yeah, no, for the basketball, the tournament.
Oh, Penn. Okay.
University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
we went to the Final Four.
They play at the Palestra.
They do. Oh, sure.
I've been
them
there.
play many
I love
times.
that place.
That is the best basketball arena there is.
I went there in late March one time, and it was nice weather out. And oh my, it was hot in there. Yale versus Harvard. They had because back then they didn't have the Ivy League tournament, so they had Harvard and Yale were tied that year for the best record in the Ivy League. So they actually had to do a play-in game at the Palestra, and it was actually nice weather out.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a triple header. Actually, I think. The Flyers were home at 1, and then we went to the Palestra, and then at the evening, the Sixers were home. It was a great day.
Yeah, that was great times. But the thought that an Ivy League team makes the Final Four is never going to happen again.
No, definitely not. And also, I think back in the day, the City University of New York had teams too, like CCNY.
Oh no, if you're going way back before there was a cheating scandal that killed New York City, but they won one team, CCNY, won the NCAA and the NIT in the same year.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, they did it. They did it. NYU was a powerhouse.
What was it? The mob?
Yeah,
not the Democrats, the actual mob.
Oh gosh.
They were killed. They were fixing games, and that's basically why New York basketball. Then it went off to North Carolina and Duke and all these other places, and Indiana, UCLA,
and also a lot of we discussed it in past that when people graduate high school in New York, they don't want to stay in New York anymore. They want to kind of go away.
Sure.
And so people are not being recruited for New York City schools for college anymore, even though New York City has probably some of the best high school basketball talents in the country.
That's true.
The problem is that the grade points are not there. So if the grade points are not there, they can't play Division I. So a lot of them go off to community college, junior college, and play. Because even though they're a good player, there's still academic standards.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, I just thought I'd chime in. I'm going to head off to bed.
All right. Thank
that's
you.
pretty late.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, there's that guy calling in from Floral Park.
Yep.
516-572-7440 is the number to call in. That was a great call right there. I mean, call back soon. We'd love to have you. So we talked some NBA. How about the Islanders? Oh man,
I know you wanted to. I know you want to get on this. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. Talk about your Islanders.
I understand why you had to play Robin Leonard that game. He didn't play for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So even though Grice had first star of the week last week, you need to get him the playing time. But just the timing of that, everything happened there. 5-0 blowout. Even Matt Martin losing a fight bad to former Islander Zdeno Chara. I mean, come on.
Fighting a 6'9" guy.
And for a sold-out game.
Like a good idea. 6'9", 7 feet on skates.
For a sold-out game, believe it or not, the tickets were dirt cheap.
I heard that there were tickets so available for
but it was sold out.
The bloom is off the rose, the lusters. Well, they're sold out per se because I know guys who have the tickets and they're constantly putting their tickets on like that secondary. The Islanders have the secondary sales thing. One guy got $3. One guy got $3 for it.
But there's still demand. They're still selling out.
Yeah, but this was a perfect storm year for them that they played a limited amount of games at the Coliseum and they were winning. If they were not, Islander fans had their chance to support this team when they were on the outside looking in and they were going to move and all that stuff, and they didn't. Whether it was voting in the election or it was just coming out and putting fannies in the seats, they didn't do it. Now they're acting. This Belmont thing's never going to happen. The Coliseum's going to have to be refurbished again, and it's going to have to be refurbished while the team is playing. So it's going to have to be a retrofit, but it's going to be like your favorite restaurant never gets redone. Your favorite restaurant never gets redone for 2 reasons. Number one, it's so busy it can't get redone. Number two, they don't have enough money. They're restaurant poor, like we're house poor from mortgage. They don't have enough money to refurbish it because they only have enough to have their margin and break even and all that stuff.
My favorite pizzeria, when the chairs break, they just take it away. They don't replace it.
My favorite restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants, has always been, and we went to it actually on Sunday because I was in the mood for it. It was St. Patrick's. I'm like, let me go. I didn't want to go to it. And I went to R.S. Jones in Merrick. And it just had a feel. It was empty. And the waiters and the waitresses seemed miserable. The cooks seemed miserable. It was just a weird. The bathroom was kind of dingy. And all of a sudden, I see a news day today. They're closing after 26 years. They're closing April 13th. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew something was going on here. And sure enough, they're closing.
How about
April
Patty
13th.
Power?
Patty, that's across the street. That's on the same block. Yeah, it's on Merrick Avenue in Merrick. Yeah, I drove past it. I didn't see a big crowd on St. Patrick's Day there, but St. Patrick's Day was on a Sunday this year, and everyone did stuff on Saturday.
You know
the parade
how
was Saturday
every town
in the
has
city.
their local bar where the certain type of people hang out.
I've never been inside. I mean, it opened when I was an old man, so I never went inside. But I've seen the back of it from the Outback over there.
Let's just say on Saturdays I get off at work at 2:00 in the morning in Merrick, and I've kind of stumbled upon that place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You go in?
Yeah,
after
work.
Nice. Look at you. Look at you bending the elbow. Mark O. Tokowski. You could join Patrick over here and
let something happen.
Patrick McHamilton and Mark O. Tokowski over here.
Yeah, but I go in with my Italian friend.
So
Italian coworker.
I see. That's racist. You refer to him as your Italian. He's just your coworker, Mark.
No, we're talking about an Irish place.
Not exactly. Well, it's a melting pot.
Your favorite restaurant?
But that's the New York thing. Like we would refer to ourselves by what we were, just because we were a big melting pot. So it was kind of that's what we. So everyone would say, "Oh, that's racist." It's not racist. That's what we are. We're friends. Okay, he's my Italian friend. It's like just what. That's how you distinguish or differentiate. But you can't do that in this day and age.
Your favorite restaurant is the one your brother works at.
No, I haven't been there in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Well, Josh, the one who gave credit about the Tom Seaver thing before, by the way, I didn't look that up. Josh gave that to me.
Oh, the Tom Seaver?
Yeah. When the statue's going to be finished in 2020.
Okay. I was in the bathroom. I didn't hear that. I was on assignment. I didn't hear that.
Look who's in the bathroom now.
I literally was in the bathroom. I didn't hear. I was also talking to Kim outside.
Not KJ Brooks.
No, exactly. This is I'm trying to think of when it could have been the last time there was just the three of us here in the studio, because we had KJ Brooks.
I remember
I said
this was like 2017.
At least we're not Bill Withers. Just the two of us?
Oh, okay. Was Bill Withers the two of us?
Oh, Grover Washington.
It was Grover Washington Jr. Yeah.
Well,
so Bill Withers was Lean on Me, and he was Lovely Day. Lovely Day. Great song. In fact, that's going to inspire me to look up Bill Withers' music right now.
No, I only said that because I wanted to shout out to Michael Anthony, Saturday Nights. The Unforgettables.
That's right. But Grover Washington Jr., just the two of us is 80s. That's not the Unforgettables. Though Michael Anthony grew up in the 80s, that's not...
I don't know. He was playing the song. I happened to be...
Was he really? He played that?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Maybe he was interviewing somebody with regard to... Because I
didn't see any deaths in the paper.
I was going to say they killed Grover Washington. See, this is Bill Withers' Lean on Me. Oh, wait a second. He has... Wait a second. Hold on a second. He's got... Bill Withers, just the two of us. You could be right here.
You're playing the lower the...
You could be right here.
Lower Lean on Me.
So this is just the two of us.
Yeah.
But my favorite Bill Withers song is this song. So this was...
I like the saxophone.
What rap song used just the two of us? It was...
Will Smith did it for Pursuit of Happiness.
That's right. And he Getting Jiggy With It was used... Ben and Black used... okay, now this is Lovely Day. I don't know if you know this song, but post 9/11, Edward Burns, good friend of the show, has been sat in that chair, actor, director, writer, Edward Burns, did all the famous
Valley Stream guy.
Valley Stream guy, yeah, Gibson. All the famous New York directors, Spike Lee, Scorsese, they all did 5-minute shorts of New York City post 9/11 at that concert, and Ed Burns did a whole montage to this song, and this is just a great song, Lovely Day.
I know this song.
Yeah, this is a fantastic song. But
now you guys not gonna hear my vocals. You have to pay for that.
It's an easy one though.
Yeah,
such a
you don't got to go too much into it.
Yeah.
Now, why do you refer to it as Gibson? What's the difference between Gibson and Valley Stream? I'm not.
Do you really want to know?
You know, Mark likes his destinations and his checkpoints.
In that particular, Gibson is in the Hewlett School District.
Aha.
So Gibson would sort of be the Gentile enclave within the Hewlett School District is the difference between the but it's part of Valley Stream.
So there's really four sections of Valley Stream.
There's Central, they try to differentiate themselves from Valley Stream, but they're trying to differentiate themselves from Hewlett at the same time.
North Valley Stream is really South Franklin Square for the most part.
Right. Well, and there's that, I think it's St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Hewlett. That's where everyone from Gibson goes. The grammar school, then they wind up going to the high school. That's pretty much how it was. Yeah. Now, Eddie Burns went to Chaminade, failed out, but that's how he became friends with Mike Vaccaro from the Post, because they went to Chaminade together and played basketball. So.
I thought Hewlett went by a different name.
Who's that? Hewlett?
Yeah.
Oh, with a different letter?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said it, not I.
Well, I can say
just
it.
point out, Mark, not me said it. Exactly.
By the way, guys, I don't know the difference anymore between Mordecai and Heyman.
Oh, John Heyman?
No.
Say when John Heyman
Purim
talks.
joke,
John Heyman
joke.
also from the Five Towns. John
Purim
Heyman's
joke.
he's from either Lawrence or Inwood of the Five Towns. Is he from Lawrence? Yeah.
Lawrence High School graduate.
He is Lawrence, and then he went to Northwestern University. Now he lives
Which is not even in
Miami.
Lawrence High School.
No?
It's
Well, that's
Cedarhurst.
like Mineola High School, which is in Garden City Park.
It's in Cedarhurst.
Oh.
But Lawrence District.
It's funny because my softball league's starting up again on April 28th. We weren't sure if it's going to come through because one team backed out. It's been in existence since 1961, but we had a new team join this year, and the commissioner said, "Yeah, they're either from Farmingdale or Cedarhurst." I'm like, "Well, that's a big difference." it's like I
would go
can't
with
see a team
Farmingdale.
driving from Cedarhurst to play softball in Massapequa Park as opposed to Farmingdale. I could see.
I don't think there's any softball teams coming from Cedarhurst.
No.
'Cause guess
Well,
what?
they're free on Sundays. We play on Sundays.
Yeah, but I don't think there's many softball teams coming from Plainview either.
Right. There's a guy I've played with in tournaments who's from Plainview, who's a member of the tribe. Excellent player, such a good player. He's also a physical trainer. He like a trainer at a gym and everything. He's in great shape. Really good player. And he's constantly on Facebook. He's constantly live videoing. What do they call that? Like live. They have a name for it. Or whatever
Instagram Live.
it's Facebook Live. Yeah. What's that live thing on Facebook? Facebook Live. He's constantly
At the JCC?
He's constantly showing at bats of like either himself or his teammate live from like Eisenhower Park or from Kaniak.
Is he that guy who goes around like wanting lights on every field in Nassau County?
No. It's funny.
And turf fields too.
I'm so sick and tired of. So when Farmingdale School District did their bond for the new pool, which I still haven't put ground in yet, but for their fields, I remember telling the superintendent for business, who's now the superintendent of schools, he got promoted after the guy retired. I said to him, they had like a meeting with all. I was at a coaches meeting, but he had meetings with all the taxpayers and citizens. I said, I just hope you know. And I want it said that Land Tech is not the only game in town. It's like, oh yeah, we know that. Sure enough, I look at all the fields being built by Land Tech, and it's like
they're on County Line Road.
Well, because in Amityville, I pass it whenever I go get brunch. Yeah, absolutely. It's
or at Blackstone's.
No, I go to the Cornucopia, which I went last week. Last week I went to Cornucopia Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. It's 3 out of 4 days. But there's Park Avenue Grill. There's Brownstone, which is very good. I went there on Wednesday of last week.
Someone's having brunch every day.
I've become a ladies at brunch. Like there's the Jam, there's
Mimosa.
Rosie's Kitchen. There's a brand new one in Massapequa by the bowling alley that came from Rockville Center.
Is Mimosa good? I heard a lot of people talk about it.
The restaurant?
No. The drink.
Oh yeah,
it's really good. It's
orange juice and champagne. How can you go wrong?
Oh, it is.
That's all it is. Orange juice and champagne. You cannot go wrong with that. That's a perfect drink.
Yeah,
it's like a nice Sunday morning, with steak and eggs or whatever.
Don't you do something else on Sunday too with the?
I do Piano Man 3 to 4. This past Sunday morning, where I was live with Piano Man Sunday 3 to 4, we had 3 winners of tickets. But this past Sunday morning, we had a swim meet at Echo Park in West Hempstead at 7 a.m. So
on Sunday?
On Sunday, because that's when Our Lady Lourdes Malvern has the pool. So we had to go. I had to leave my house I woke up at 5:54. And
5:54.
That's what time I got up.
What do you have a train time?
No, well, I was so afraid of hitting snooze that I'm like, all right, if I hit snooze, at least it'll still be only like 6:02. I could be 6 o'clock and still could get it because I had to pick up my co-head coach at his house. And get my kid up too. So and I went to bed at 3. So. I get there, made great time getting there and everything, but the doors didn't open until 7 a.m., but the meet was over by 9. So I'm like, what do I do with myself now? It's St. Patrick's Day at 9 a.m. and I'm up. So
go to the one in Franklin
Avenue. And we
Avenue.
had gotten green bagels. So the green bagels were awesome.
BK
Sweeties?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many of them. And my wife doesn't like BK Sweeties. I think it's fine, but she's not a big fan.
Josh's family goes there all the time.
Well, we go to the one now because it's close to my house. We go to the one in Bethpage, but obviously there's one in Garden City and there's New Hyde Park. And
there's one in New Hyde Park now?
It's a New Hyde Park. It always was. I think might have been the first one. The one in New Hyde Park Road, right by.
I remember that it was an Irish
St.
club,
Joseph,
Irish bar in Garden City Park, New Hyde Park, Dublin
Pub.
Yeah.
Well, that was the place. That was on. Now it's across from Applebee's, but now that was the place to go.
That was sort of my first pair of.
That's where Brett Saberhagen met his wife. His wife was playing. Oh, really? Brett Saberhagen's wife, second wife, when he was pitching for the Mets, she was playing in a band there. And he was there, and he met his wife there, and then so he married a Long Island girl. Then he wound up buying the biggest house on the Great South Bay over in, I forget what town, Babylon, I guess it was. And then he was going to open up the Brett Saberhagen Baseball Academy, but he left. And then it became, I think, some other players' baseball academy get replaced by John Franco's baseball academy in
Who's
Brooklyn.
The one from East Meadow?
Well, Frank Viola.
Frank Viola.
Frank Viola. He's, he won a Cy Young Award. He won World Series and everything. He pitched for St. John's. In fact, one of the most legendary college World Series games was St. John's versus Yale University. It was Frank Viola against Ron Darling.
Speaking of random Mets, you know who got signed by the Ducks?
It was sent to us by Cameron. Craig Nieuwenhuis Kirk Nieuwenhuis is now playing for more Dutch. Now Nieuwenhuis is Dutch as well. But in Suffolk County, there's a bunch of guys who played ball in Suffolk and now have their own baseball academies. A guy named Neil Habian, I think his name was. You got Paul Gibson out there. Frank Catalanato, who had the better career of all of those guys. He's out there.
Markakis is from out there.
Yeah, but Markakis didn't reside in Long Island. He stayed in Baltimore and Atlanta and stuff. But he's still playing. He's still is he a free agent now? I'm trying to think. He had a good year last year he's got borderline Hall of Fame numbers. He's got like 2,600 hits.
How about Craig Biggio?
Craig Biggio is a Hall of Famer.
But he's done with Long Island, though, right? He's done?
He's done. Well, he lives in Houston. Once you live in Houston, you're rich. You stay in Houston. And he went to Seton Hall.
Once you live in Houston, you're rich. I think once you live on Long Island, you're rich.
No, not different kind of rich. $1 million in Long Island versus $1 million in Houston is a lot different in terms of the kind of houses you have. But because cops can have $1 million house here, because that's how expensive the houses are. You can live in a Cape Cod for $1 million.
Born in Glen Cove, then moved to Woodstock, Georgia.
Who's that, Markakis?
Yes.
Yeah, he's living.
He's still on the Braves.
Yeah, he's got 2,600 hits, I think.
He's 35.
Yeah, well, how many hits does he have career-wise? It's like
23, 37.
Yeah, he's going to have. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame, but he's going to have very nice numbers when it's all said and done.
All the numbers are thrown out now, though.
Yeah, of course, with Harold Baines. But I was going to say about Craig Biggio. So Craig Biggio was from Kings Park, went to Kings Park High School, then he went to Seton Hall. And his two sons, Cavan, Cavan, very Irish name, and Connor, Conor, the way I spell my son's name, went to Notre Dame, both caps in Notre Dame. They're both playing for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays in the minor league, they got Vlad Guerrero Jr., they got Dante Bichette Jr., they got, or Bichette, some other name Bichette, they got all these second-generation 90s star sons. So, but you talk about like great athletes. So in Suffolk County, the best football player, high school football player award is called the Hanson Award. In Suffolk County, the best baseball player award, it's called the Yastrzemski Award. Figures make sense. He's from Southampton. So Boomer Esiason won the Yastrzemski Award, best baseball player out at East Islip High School. And Craig Biggio won the Hanson Award as best football player. Meanwhile, those guys are both, Biggio's in the Hall of Fame as a baseball player, and Esiason was an MVP, highest paid quarterback at the time, all that kind of stuff, could be a Hall of Famer. They played opposite sports in high school where they won the best awards for. So it's just like when you're an athlete kind of thing. Like Joe Montana was the number one University of Kentucky basketball recruit the year he went to Notre Dame to play football. He could have played basketball at Kentucky. It's just that when you're an athlete, you're an athlete. It's kind of how it goes.
It's got me, that Craig Biggio, for some reason, I was watching a YouTube video the other day.
Somehow Biggio on that team with Caminetti and Bagwell. No, there was no steroids going on there.
May 6, 1998. The Astros played the Chicago Cubs. Mm-hmm. You know who the starting pitcher was for the Chicago Cubs that day?
It was Kerry Wood.
Yes. How many strikeouts did he have? 20 strikeouts.
Do you know why I can tell you that?
How?
I was on my honeymoon. So on my honeymoon, several things happened sports-wise. nothing happened on my honeymoon. But on my and thank you. On my is this thing on? On my honeymoon, Piazza was traded to the Marlins. Frank Sinatra died. Eddie Rabbitt died. Jeff Bagwell got hurt for the first time in his entire career. Kerry Wood threw the 20 strikeouts, and David Wells threw his perfect game for the Yankees.
But they had
so just in that team. 2 weeks I was away in May of '98, all that crazy stuff happened.
Talk about a Royd special that had Craig Biggio, Derek Bell.
I was going to say the Killer Bees. Right.
Bagwell. Jack Howell.
Okay, playing third base.
Moises Alou.
Outfield.
Dave Clark.
Dave Clark was playing. Where was Dave Clark playing?
Left field.
Left field, all right.
Ricky Gutierrez, Brad Ausmus. Starting that day was...
Brad Ausmus, Dartmouth, member of the Tribe.
So. Shane Reynolds.
Pitcher, good pitcher, right-hander. Yeah.
So that was the lineup that day.
Yeah, that was... But, I mean, when you think about where Ken Caminetti died in a crack house in the Bronx. Was it Queens or the Bronx? I think it was the Bronx. So Ken Caminetti had no business being in the Bronx. Ken Caminetti was from Texas, and he was from Georgia, and he was from California. He had nothing to do with the Bronx, but he was such a drug addict by that time. He'd been kicked out of his house, and he just was following the demon. He was following the devil, and he wound up in a crack house in a tenement somewhere in the Bronx, and that's where he died. And when guys overdose in a crack house, no one's calling the police.
No,
no one's calling an ambulance. You're
stinking up the joint.
You're foaming in the mouth. People run. That's what. Here's a multi-millionaire, and he's and also that team in 98 had Darryl Kyle as well on that team as well in 98. So,
he had a heart
condition, that killed him in the hotel room in St. Louis. Because Joe Girardi had come out and announced and that was in June of 2002 when he passed away. Yeah. 516-572-7440, 516-572-7440.
It seems like it's always the pitchers that die past during the season. Never really.
I remember J.R. Richard was
the guy in the Angels.
Astros. Well, J.R. Richard. Well, the Angels.
No, the guy with the car accident.
Well, Nick Adenhart.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. No, there was a guy named from the Angels in the late '70s. Good hitter. Corey Lytle was the week after the season had ended. The Yankees didn't make the playoffs, so they lost or whatever. So otherwise, the Yankees would have been in the playoffs. They weren't in the playoffs, so that's why Corey Lytle was flying.
I saw one of his last
game.
starts. They played the Blue Jays.
That's why he was flying that day.
The only game I was ever at the old Yankee Stadium was one time.
I remember I was.
My dad refused to take me there.
I was in. I was working at the New York Stock Exchange at the time, and I get a phone call on my cell phone. And it was Jim Bellback from Newsday calling me, because I was doing the show, calling me to tell me who was on that plane, that it was Nick Lytle, or Corey Lytle, rather. So
you did work for the American Stock Exchange?
We bought the American Stock Exchange during my tenure there, and they came to work for us, yeah. So, the Amex was a dog exchange. It was a terrible exchange. But, 516-572-7440.
The bull. You need the bull market.
Yeah, 516. Do you know why they call it a bull market?
Yeah, because it's...
it pushes.
Yes.
So the bull market, the phrase bull market comes from a bull throws its phrase up in the air, throws its prey up in the air. So a bull market is an up market. The stocks go up.
Bear takes it down.
A bear puts its paw down on you and pushes you down. So a bear market, the stocks go down. So that's where bull and bears come from. That's one to grow on. 516-572-7440.
That's a show on Saturday on some channel that most people don't like.
Well, that's at Fox News?
Yeah, the Bulls and the Bears.
Oh, is that what they call it? Yeah, no, I don't...
John Bradshaw Layfield's on that.
Oh, look at you watching your television.
Wrestling, wrestling. Things happening with the wrestling.
I see that there's gonna be a reality show featuring that guy, The Miz, the wrestler.
Yeah.
The Miz, he was on MTV's The Real World. And he was a skinny guy, and he talked about how he wanted to be a professional wrestler. So it's so weird that a guy who was a reality star and a skinny guy wound up becoming like the champion, but that's all made up.
Waxes his chest all day.
Yeah, exactly. And then his wife, they were making the rounds today doing. The only reason I wouldn't know him, my wife had like Inside Edition on or extra on whatever before, and the Miz's wife is there, and she's wearing a pink plaid outfit
Maurice.
All the way down
She's
her
French.
like pants and jacket. It looks like she shot her couch.
You know what the best part about those shows is? Those shows are when they're over.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. That's what my dad used to say whenever we'd go to visit my grandmother. The best part about this place? Roads leading out of it.
Yeah, it's like we used to make a joke when we were driving on the road trips. What's the best part about Jersey City?
Was the roads leading out of it? Yeah, leaving. It's true. It's like it's true. 516-572-7440.
Speaking of Canada and Quebec, the Blue Jays will be playing 2 games in Montreal.
Montreal. Yeah.
For they're playing them against the Brewers.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I wonder if the Brewers are going to sign Craig Kimbrell.
That's where I'd like to see a game, though, one day in the Dome.
In Montreal?
Yes.
So which dome is that?
The one where the Expos played.
Oh, so it's still around.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Except the roof got broken shut.
Right. Oh, yeah. What was that stadium called?
The Olympic Stadium.
The
Big O?
So it was the 1976 Olympic Stadium?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay. Because Jarry Park was the original stadium in Montreal, Parc Jarry.
Yes.
And then the Olympic Stadium was built, yeah. I remember the big star of the 1976 Olympics. His name was Bruce Jenner. He was on Wheatie boxes. Whatever happened to him? You don't hear from that guy anymore.
His daughter's a self-made billionaire.
Yeah, he's a self-made billionaire. Unbelievable. Self-made billionaire. Yeah.
She's got a tuchus the size of a...
Where you going with this, Mark?
I don't know. That sounds like an old Jewish grandmother is what that sounds like. She's got a tuchus the size of...
Hey, they said no cursing in English.
Right, okay. So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So you could say putz as well while you're at it.
But some words have transferred into English.
Oh, they are. Well, putz is one of them.
Like schmear.
Well, my mother always used the Yiddish phrase "gazarai," which means like mess. Like it's like you left the mess of gaz. She would say
now, nobody in your family spoke Gaelic?
Gaelic wasn't really a big language. It was dead for the 50s, 60s, 70s. Now it's back. Now it's huge. Like in the 90s, like when I was on my honeymoon in Ireland in 98, it was huge. But it's funny because I'm shopping with my wife in the supermarket the other day, and matzahs are everywhere. And my wife's like, that really makes me think of your mother. My mother loved matzah. And it's funny because I'm sure you guys hate it because you have to eat it during unleavened bread.
I don't mind it.
My mother, because at the supermarket they would give it away for free. It was always a giveaway or whatever. So we always had in our Irish and Polish Catholic house, we had matzah up the yin-yang. But I loved matzah. And even when I going to Catholic school growing up, grammar school, we would do a mock's Last Supper, which was really a Seder, original Seder, and we would have grape juice, and we would have matzah.
How long is that? 7 weeks?
It's 40 days, but it's more than 40 days because they don't count the Sundays. That's why some people like to say it starts on Ash Wednesday.
So it's 7 weeks.
It starts on Ash Wednesday and it ends on Holy Thursday.
It's almost 7 weeks.
So people love to say that's why people who give up do their Lenten promises. They give up things on Lent. They like to say that they don't have to observe it on Sundays because if you give up, let's say you gave up chocolate for Lent. On Sundays I can eat chocolate because I'm allowed because it's not part of Lent. No. The reason they don't count Sundays in Lent is because you're supposed to go to church on Sunday anyway. So it is a day of obligation. So that's 40 days and 40 nights.
No. So you guys do it in 7 weeks?
Yep.
We do it 7 days straight.
You get it done.
Yeah.
Get her done. Get her done. But and the first 2 nights are the important nights, right?
First 2 and the last 2.
First and the last. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I'm actually I'm changing it up. I'm going to be taking off, like...
Now, are you the youngest person?
No.
Okay, all right, so you don't ask the question.
For some reason, the youngest person's been the youngest person for, the last...
And now they're 40?
20 years.
Because they have kids after them?
Well, actually, family fights and different things.
Yeah.
So the person outaged it, and then they became the youngest person.
And which door do you leave open?
The front door.
Front door. So is it literally open?
Yeah, we don't shut the front door.
Shut the front door. Tristan looks like he's losing weight. I say to people on the radio who don't.
Oh yeah, well I've been
your face looks really skinny. I don't think it's the hair.
No. What you call it? I got a membership at Export Fitness right there. I've been at 4 times a week. I've been trying to. I've been trying to get rid. I got a
handsome devil.
Yeah, I got a few trips. Obviously Josh
took us there.
No, took us there. I got Josh's his bachelor's party that we're going to in
New Orleans,
June.
right?
No, Texas.
Oh, Texas. Oh, Austin.
Yeah, Austin, Texas. And then August now is finally confirmed. I'm actually going to Dubai.
Are you really?
Yeah, me and my best friend and 2 other friends. We're going to Dubai.
Moly.
Yeah, I'm going to Dubai.
Are you going to put your car on the roof?
Do you see who's trying to go? Do you see who had to go to a judge today to try to get to go to Dubai?
Who?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. He tried to ask permission to leave.
You think they're going to let this guy go to Dubai? You're not a flight risk. You're not a flight risk at all.
Yeah, it is. You go through a lot. So yeah, I'm going there in August.
Wow.
And August. Yeah.
You
So
can take my place. I have no interest in
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, no.
I'll see my passport.
Exactly. Wow.
Here's the
Well, that's the thing about Dubai. They try to make themselves so into everybody, like all kinds of tourism.
Everybody goes. Yeah. Everybody just tries to go there.
The beaches have women in bikinis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
Yeah,
but
they do it.
who's driving and who's not?
Yeah.
And who has to cover up?
And also too because while I'm there I might try to ride a camel, so I just want to make sure the camel is good. If you know what I'm saying.
I just want you to go up in the big buildings they have.
Okay, definitely.
How about the palm tree apartment?
Right? Yeah, I mean that's stuff that those beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
But it's just so weird because that's the United Arab Emirates. It's just so weird that place exists. They got the biggest, greatest malls in the world, and they got beaches or whatever. Yet it's wow.
Yeah,
how does that exist? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's
they got to diversify, knowing that.
Exactly. They need to open up. And
you got to definitely behave yourself out there because.
Right.
Yeah.
It ain't Singapore.
Yeah. I just want to say our president won't come. Get me if I'm stuck down there.
Well, he might because it's a rich place.
That's true.
But you might have to change your name to Tristan Hamilton III.
Or something nice.
Yeah. It's amazing how that's become a place.
It's just somewhere that people want.
It's like, wow, really? Okay, all right, yeah, okay, yes, no, It's like I'm tired of hearing people say you got to go to Iceland because they've so reduced the prices and they have nothing but tourism over there. So Iceland Air makes you go over there and everything. I've been to Iceland.
What is so
no great shakes. I mean the sun that's 24 hours or the night that's 24 hours depending on the time of year.
Okay,
and the land sort of looks like the surface sort of looks like Star Wars. It's all rocky.
Okay.
It's all volcanic.
Would you guys ever do an RV trip? Would you ever?
In the worst way. Every time I drive past a house that has not the ones that you put on a hook in the back of your car, but the ones that
Actual
you drive.
RV.
Yeah,
the actual
I
RV.
love that.
Yeah,
and I've always wanted to do that for a football game. Like go and
do that. The actual RV. Yeah.
Pick up street reporters from Kazakhstan.
There's one right. My wife. There's
USC
right by Howitt, the Farmingdale Middle School. There's a block away. I think it's Sikataga or something. And it's called the. I got to take a picture of it. I'll see it tomorrow. The Jets. It's a Jets. The guy took an RV. It's all painted, all Jets. It's nothing but Jets. The Jets, the whole front. It's autographed by Jets or whatever. And it's what the guy does. So it's something he owns, and he takes to all the Jets home games.
Baylor games too. The same colors.
Yeah, same colors. Just go up the block. Well, now the guy they've redone with, I would say, Atlantic. It's all lit fields and everything there. That guy's going to have lights like you wouldn't believe blinding him on that block because the lights are so.
Well, he's got the truck.
Yeah, and but the lights they just built these brand new fields at Howard, gorgeous fields.
That's like a high school campus.
It is now. It is, yeah, and that's where the pool's supposed to go too. So I'm waiting for. I was signing.
We're in the middle there. Between the two schools.
Right. I was signing.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So that now that schools are going to be actually like connected. Like.
Yep, I was signing Timmy up for deck hockey the other day, and actually the Farmingdale School Board president was there. So I was asking him, like, when is the pool going to happen? Because I've got a vested interest in the pool. He's like, well, we got approval from the state, because the state, you have to get the State Construction Authority for schools has to approve it. So, it sits as, bureaucrat just sits there for a while. And then...
Farmingdale, never heard of it.
Yeah, never. Then you got to go and... then they got to go... put it out to bid, which we know who's going to win the bid. I can tell you, it's on County Line Road in Amityville. They're going to win the bid, and then they'll build it. And they got the architect, H&M Architects, which is a really big architecture firm in Melville, but it's all over the country. But all right, this is Sports Talk 516-572-7440. We got about 5, 6, 7 commercial-free minutes, and till Riley comes on with FM Punk, and that's Tristan Hamilton. That's Mark Toktakowski. We're usually joined by Kevin Boston Hill and Josh Silverberg. They'll be back with us next week. There's a chance that we do the marathon next week, but since Mark's not here, I'm going to go ahead and say probably not, because we don't want to do it that way. But we got to see what the powers that be say, but I don't think it should be a problem.
Syracuse is down by 1.5 against Baylor. But it's all right. We're in this game.
We did talk
37-38.
Did you see Baylor's women's basketball team? They're like a top seed. Several.
First time UConn hasn't been winning a few years. That's good though. Last year all we was talking about is how boring
exactly
and
some new blood.
Yep.
Did you see though what happened with ESPN? Right, I know you did.
Yeah, nobody responded
on ESPNU, which is the one of the networks. They were doing their men's selection show or something like that. But in the background, behind the reporters, was the women's brackets in the afternoon.
No, the bottom line was showing it.
The bottom. Oh, is that what it was? The bottom line? Oh, even worse. And
so people
screenshotted it. So all these 10, and I think it's kind of stupid, but 10 different colleges had to cancel their reveal parties or their watch parties, whatever. Yeah. I think if you're getting in, don't cancel it. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
If you wind up not getting in, cancel it.
Yeah, cancel it.
I know how it ends.
Guys, we need to go.
Everyone who's going to the tournament takes 2 steps forward. Not so fast. Sam Houston State or whatever you are. It's like. But 3 of us are going. 1 of us is not. Who's that? Welcome to Loserville, population you.
we did get in some NBA though, by the way, Chris.
I heard the Nets.
The Nets 25.
I heard D'Angelo Russell's name bandied about.
The time is now.
It's funny because spring training has gone on long enough. Major League Baseball starts next.
Started already.
Yeah, we know that. But opening day is next Thursday. If you go to Miller's Ale House, I think it's going to be 11. No, that's April 14th. But no, next week we're going to the guys. Other WHPC Sports Talk show will be live at Miller's Ale House.
Surprise! I haven't got any emails on
that. Not a lot of them. On I know from I think it's 11 to 1 on. I think it's 3 hours, but I know 11's involved. I know 1's involved. So go on down to Miller's Ale House in Levittown and go. It's going to be a live broadcast Thursday, or listen in 90.3 WHPC. The WHPC Thursday afternoon, morning Sports Talk guys will be there. So it's definitely worth checking out. Go meet. I don't know who's doing it, so I don't want to say Nick because Nick's always available. So I'll say that Nick's doing it, but I don't know if it's like Eric Fischetti or the other guys. But go on down and definitely check that out and tell them the guys from Thursday night sent you. And that's what you want to do. Don't forget, I give you Piano Man every Sunday afternoon. So this coming Sunday afternoon, Thursday night, Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. You want to tune into the Billy Joel Radio Show. That's me. Kevin Boston Hill gives you NCC Forum every Thursday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. So listen to Kevin do that. Mark, what's your Twitter handle?
Mark Talky1.
There you go.
Found at every school district on Long Island.
So it's MarkTalky1.
Yes.
And does
Tristan have Twitter?
Yes.
No, I don't. I save all my thoughts to
that's good.
For sports
Your
talk.
thoughts for WHPC Sports every Thursday night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's why we love him the best.
Yeah.
That's why he is my adopted son.
Yeah.
He's now my Irish cousin.
I have a brother-in-law.
You do have a brother-in-law, yeah.
Oh, you do.
And somehow we have to make up for the donations we used to get from Dave for because of your brother-in-law.
Can we just announce that every time?
Exactly. We got to make up. We don't have Dave anymore as a listener, so we
got my brother-in-law.
We got because of Josh. So, so if you're listening, Josh, text us now. So make sure that you call in. Everyone's got to call in when we do our marathon to make up for not having Dave's money. Last year was just Dave donated. 2 years ago, Dave and his son both donated. So we got to make up.
Charlie called.
Yeah, Charlie did call. His son-in-law called. So yeah, it's very interesting. So Charlie listens.
So
no one wants a Charlie in the box.
We only hear from the son-in-law,
right.
the brother-in-law.
Son-in-law who is a first cousin of the Kardashians, which is hilarious.
How about
literally a first cousin of the Kardashians?
How about the what do you call it? The godson.
But I do know that Dave calls the other afternoon shows here on the station. So at least we haven't lost a listener to the station, which is the most important kind of thing. So we want that. But uh-oh. Do we dare answer that?
30 seconds or
Caller,
less.
you're on Sports Talk. Hello?
Yes, I want you to ask a question about the Mets.
Yeah. I don't like hearing myself on the radio. Turn your radio down, Morris. All right, is that Morris from Limbrook? All right, I got to start the Sports Talk closing music, so let me get that going here. And starting right about... we got about 7 minutes. I'll start that closing music. Don't forget, Riley with FM Punk follows us. Kevin Boston Hill at NCC Forum on Thursday afternoons. And... there we go. All right, Mark Talkowski.
Another great show. Fortunately, can't be here next week. Team-sponsored trip to Philadelphia. Can't wait.
Nice. All right, over there, Tristan Hamilton.
Go Mets. And also, Jets, we need a few more players out there. Justin Houston is still out there. We have some few players that we need to go and grab. Come on.
All right, I'm Chris Muldoon. Like I said, Piano Man Thursday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Sports Talks, WHPC Sports Talk, every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. For Josh Silverberg and Kevin Boston Hill, I am Chris Muldoon. I thank you so much for lending us your ears. Twitter.com/Sports Talk 903. Twitter.com/Sports Talk 903. Sports Talk at optonline.net. I'm Chris Muldoon. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for lending us your ears. We'll see you on the airwaves. Stay tuned. Keep it locked into where it is for Riley and FM Punk. Bye, buddy. See you on the airwaves.